pre-workout, food. I can caffeine. I can just take a ton before it really before I'm like, this sucks. The first time I drank a Bang, I slam it. You know what I mean? I want it all right there. That 320 milligrams right then and there. I didn't have any food. That was the one time that I do remember being like, oh, this is too much. Like, I don't like what I'm feeling. But if I had food in my stomach, I could take a lot of caffeine or anything.
Did you hear that there was a lawsuit because there apparently wasn't any BCAAs or creatine, and the milligrams of caffeine weren't up to standard? I think it was like 300 a can. Yeah.
I believe it was like 600 a can.
No. I'm talking like hardly any caffeine.
What makes you feel so wild?
Because it does, and there is, and like you said, on an empty stomach,
it made me feel bad.
It will, and there is a sluggish feeling that if you compare the not the high, but the stimulated effect that you get from a coffee compared to a Bang. Coffee is more just straight, streamlined, consistent, and Bang is kind of like, okay, I'm awake, but my head kind of hurts, or I might feel sluggish. I think one of the way that I heard it was like, you feel like your eyes have sand in them or something, like something just dragging you down.
Yeah, like they're not good. They're not good for you, I don't think.
Definitely not good for you. I think anything with a lot of ingredients kind of has its downfall. But for me, another thing is I need the flavor and then the carbonation on my tongue. So that does it for me. And anytime that I have any food, it's crunch and it's carbonation on my tongue will satisfy any hunger or thirst.
So you are 4 Bangs?
I'm 4 Bangs, yes. So as much as I talk crap about them, I don't care. I need them just to. And I've tried the caffeine free. Just to kind of, also get that carbonation effect, but it's just not.
Well, what's the point? It's like alcohol-free beer. I mean, unless you're
and I've tried that also. Actually, Joe Rogan talked about the Heineken 0.0.
Yeah, but
I mean, only because I'm like you. If I start drinking a beer, I don't stop until I'm asleep.
I'm there for a reason. I'm doing this.
That's exactly.
So this is
it's a
only
waste of money
whenever I
to
drink.
get a buzz.
This is only whenever I drink during the daytime. So if I know I start early, I'm going to continue through the night. So I have to kind of real beer, alcohol free, and then continue real beer. Otherwise, if I go real beer the entire time, I'm not going to be any fun. I'll be asleep.
Right. Well, I just drink like one of these and then a drink. And then if I get to a point where I feel like giving hugs out, and then I like to drink probably liquor more than when I do drink, so I can kind of maintain. I can go sip, still feel good, drink a little water, another little sip.
Yeah.
Just kind of maintain the hug state.
So when it comes to liquor, for me, it just kind of sneaks up, and that's whenever it's not good either. And I always tell myself that I don't want to mix any alcohols, but as soon as I say that, it's like almost whenever those words come out of my mouth, I'm guaranteed to have a shot.
That's about to say shots are what ruin everybody. If you stick, and I found that vodka is more of like, I call it a ninja drunk. Like you can drink 7 delicious drinks, and you're like, I feel great. And then all of a sudden it sneaks up and says, wow!
You hit a wall.
And then you're hammered. You wake up next morning, you're like, dude, I guess I passed out at midnight. Like, no, dude, you partied hard until like 4. You tore a fence apart. That actually happened to me.
Really?
Drank a bunch of vodka. I don't like that for a reason anymore because I'm I'm to a point and I'm too much fun. I've never been like mean, but my friend built a brand new fence. And back then I was like 265.
Jesus.
And like, I don't know what happened. He said I was over there peeing by the fence. I don't remember anything. I remember waking up, my friend being upset with me, and I was like, dude, I went down early. He was like, yeah, bro. And he said I just started done peeing. I grabbed the fence and like shook it. And then I realized I could I guess break it. And then I just started like punching holes. And like once I got holes through it, I could grab it and I just like tore the fence down.
So whenever you're aware that you're drunk, you want to give hugs, but whenever you
not drunk, it's an experience. Like I've drank enough in my 20s for sure to know when I'm about to get hammered. And when I drink a water if I'm drinking like a little drink, because I drink on here sometimes, I can make some drinks up. Because I knew you guys were health guys, so I was like, gosh, you usually offer drinks, but and like I'll sip it to where I sip it. When I was younger, it was like this. Woo, and just like hammer. I just slowly sip. A few beers. I know for a fact I can if I smoke 2 beers real quick, I'll feel good.
Right.
3 beers is like max. And then I need to drink some water and probably either stop drinking because beer is hard for me to gauge because you got to drink it so fast. Or switch to like a liquor drink and then just sip and just keep that little buzz the whole time.
If I make my mind up to drink, it doesn't matter what I'm drinking. I need one of each in each hand. And they don't stop. So
They
that's
don't.
whenever, my sidekick will need to hand the water over to me. That way I can have just both hands occupied. Otherwise, I'm just looking around for somebody else's drink probably.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
that's just
see.
any time that I drink, and she'll say it too. Whenever I do drink, which is once maybe a month, if that.
You're drinking.
I'm drinking. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Like the only problem with my drinking is I have 3 DWIs. If I get another one, I go away to jail for like at least. My last DW, I was like such a moron about. Shout out to my my PO officer, my probation officer, and the DA, and the lady that ran the probation office for like not throwing me in jail. I was supposed to go to prison for like 18 months.
Wow.
And like, I mean, it was about to happen. And then they came with this crazy probation that I did. It was super strict. And essentially I signed a paper that said, no, if I ever get another one of these, whatever the law is, 25 years, whatever it is, you are getting 10 on top of that for sure. And the ladies at the DA said that Jesus Christ himself will not keep this from happening.
Wow.
So after that, I think something like snapped in my brain where I legit get nervous.
Even looking at it.
Yeah, well, like if I drive somewhere, like I've even had days friends would hit me up after work. Let's go drink. I'm like, I'm down, and then I get there, and I'm like,
How am I getting home?
no, and I don't. I just won't, or I'll just I've been many times pulled in the parking lot. I mean, I'm out. I get nervous.
That's the best idea. And then there's times that I do want to have a drink and then I choose not to, and just the next morning is just so much better. Because there's been times, and I think whenever I was younger, especially probably 24 is whenever the last time that I can remember drinking all that I could and not waking up with a hangover. And after that,
Yeah, they're real now.
Oh man,
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh, so they're starting to get real for you.
Oh, they're very real.
How old are you?
24.
And you get hangovers already?
Yeah.
Dang,
Mine are
26 is
bad.
like about the end of it. I'm like, oh, what is
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, she's
And I
she's
used
a
to be
lightweight.
good. So I'm
That's good,
super
though.
lightweight though. But I used to be good about it. Like I wouldn't get hangovers as bad, but now it's just
And see, like,
crazy.
lack of this
So,
while you're drinking.
water.
And see what this does for you when you're drinking, too, is it
I'm
helps you,
the
like,
worst
focus and
at,
stay,
like-
level.
And Zach's really good about like after a night of drinking, like we're going to bed. He's like, drink water, drink
Oh, I just
Advil.
load up on
And he's-
turmeric, CBD, Advil, water,
He's like
at least
CBD.
half a gallon.
What kind of
water.
CBD do you use?
Right now we have Ned CBD. So hello Ned.
Hello, Ned. You ever heard of hemp bombs?
Hemp bombs, no.
No.
Dude, they have the...
Are they just edible CBD?
They have everything. Everything. Like,
full
everything. And, like, they... Oh, my God. The gummies are, like...
Yeah.
As close to smoking a joint that you're ever going to get without smoking a joint. Like, without... And you're not, like...
Yeah.
You're just very relaxed, kind of like everything's good, like a
Yeah.
nice chill. And then like my pain, I had this crazy wrist thing where my fingers go numb. I wrecked on my bike a couple years back, so that's what made me sold on these. Like it goes away. Not all my pains. I have bad knees. They're kind of swollen all the time. But the gummies taste delicious. The problem
Yeah.
is there's regular and high potency, and they're high, but they're so good. I'll be like,
You know how many
Yeah.
milligrams they are?
I think the whole bottle is 1,500 milligrams for the high potency and 900 for the regulars. And then they got drops, they got capsules, they got suckers, they got
What's
rubs.
it called again?
Hemp bombs.
Hemp bombs.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're so good.
We
I
also
should bring
tried
them
some
up
from like 5-Star here. The
there. Any
gummies.
CBD, I
Those
think.
are
Well,
good.
I shouldn't say any.
Yeah, I mean, I think now that the market is so saturated, you have to be careful, and you really want to look out for third-party studies, and that's what I mean. 5-Star does give third-party studies.
Yeah,
and you can just
the
look
hemp
into
bombs is the
different
same
things.
way.
Because like anything else, whenever something becomes popular, it's just the market goes through the roof with it, and it becomes
It's in everything
under
now,
the quality
CBD.
drops.
But see, if you get good
significantly.
CBD, it's like legitly. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best
Yeah.
things
Yes.
ever.
We use it
Yeah,
for
and
bed.
I think it's. I mean, I use it for bed only because I load myself up to the
Caffeine?
gills. No,
Oh.
on CBD.
You
Just I mean,
just
I'm
with
I'm
everything
It's
like
just
you.
an addictive personality. It's.
But I'm
it's-
saying, yeah.
If I'm gonna have a scoop of 300 milligram, why not 2 scoops of that?
Yeah.
Take
No,
600. If I'm gonna
literally.
have, if she takes 1 drop of CBD, 1 drop is good for her. Maybe I'll do 3 drops.
No, he
And it's
does. Like,
just-
he's like,
And-
Oh, I'm the same
and
way.
it's-
Yeah, I just take as much as possible. I'm like, like more than double what it asks
no.
for. Like,
I'm okay with
that's
doing
for a
that.
normal sized person. I'm a
Literally.
giant. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
the
okay
same
with
way.
being my own guinea pig too. If it hurts me, then it hurts me. But
Yeah.
I'm aware that it's a
Right.
It's a potential either way.
Yeah, that's a good way to live. Though. I agree. Like I eat organic food and I do this and that, but there's only so many things you can do. Essentially, if you exercise, eat pretty well, I mean, you can experiment with some shit. It's not gonna hurt nothing.
And
Like,
I think as long as you're doing your best to control different aspects, then you're already above. You're already above 99% of the world. You know,
Right.
some people might do one thing right, but if you're doing the most with what you can control, then why not?
Right.
Vary
Like
from time to
I'm
time.
with you though, because I get bad about like overly where I'm like 5 hour energies. I don't even think they do anything anymore, and they have the same amount of caffeine they say they do as a bang, which it's only
In a small
1.2 ounces of fluid.
Yeah.
I like them.
I've never tried them.
Mango ones are the best tasting. They all taste like ass, but they're the less ass tasting.
And see, and that's another thing. I think, you know, being in the health and fitness industry for a long time, and you know, the sugar free, that, your taste buds just adapt to anything, and I
Yeah.
really don't care about taste anymore.
I tell people this, like when I like my Primal Kitchen dressing, like salad dressing, it's all real food. It's delicious. It really is good. So I tell people, like my friends that aren't lifters or aren't fitness people, that I'm going, dude, this isn't like fitness guy good. This is actual people good. Like it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I get it. I get it.
I've got some buddies that are not necessarily anti health and fitness, but anti quote unquote diet food.
Right.
And I can make them something and them not know that it's healthy. They'll love it, but once I say that was healthy-ish or mention anything like that, oh, it was nasty. I knew I could
shit
taste
did
it.
taste
It was
weird.
just- yeah.
Yeah.
Now I
It's
feel
just all
kind of
in their
funny.
head.
My
Right.
stomach hurts.
Yeah.
What?
I
How
think
do you
there was
eat
something
usually?
in
Like what? What? What's his name
Usually
for it?
it's probably about 90%. Everything's, and in the past month or so, I've kind of been not as strict, but I'll usually weigh everything out to a T. Whenever I'm on top of it, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And then maybe one meal out of the weekend, we'll go out to dinner or something and have drinks.
Yeah.
Other than that, if it's a daytime, I don't like to second guess what I'm about to eat. I want it ready for me. That way, my mind doesn't sway elsewhere.
No, I'm with you on that.
And, there's other times where I do allow myself to fit a Lenny, because I have a huge sweet tooth. So Lenny and Larry, Halo Top, I'll make sure that I have room for that just to satisfy my cravings.
See, that's where my crazy addict ways go. I'm like Sundays I eat whatever I want, and there's no. I'll put it to you this way: I get organic, grass fed this, grass finished that. But when I want to go, like, let's say I want to make some nachos, I want Velveeta. I want fake as fake can get, like the opposite spectrum. When I go cheat meal, I want like all the GMOs, all the gluten.
Yeah.
So I have never had Halo ice cream. I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna have ice cream, I just want
Regular ice
just give
cream.
me some ice cream.
Yeah. So whenever, and that's one thing, just psychologically, it's like, oh, if I have, and it turns into, you know, I could have like one Ben and Jerry's, or I can have like 3 Halo Tops. I'd rather have 3 Halo
Three.
Tops
Right,
to
well, see-
equal that one Ben and Jerry's. Even
And
though,
I'm an asshole. I'm just having 3 Ben and Jerry's.
hell yeah.
Like last
I've done
Sunday,
that too.
I ate a whole box of the Klondike ice cream sandwiches, the whole box to myself. Like I'm eating them, and I
Nice.
didn't feel bad. But see, I eat so much on Sunday. Sunday's my cheat day. That on Monday I have a food hangover where I'm like bloated. I feel like dog shit. And like
Yeah.
Tuesday is about where I'm getting regular again. But I eat good food all up until Sunday.
And
I
Crystal
guess.
doesn't believe me whenever I talk about it. So for example, this past Saturday we ate like assholes,
Yeah.
and
We
I
ate so
probably
bad.
ate 5,000 calories more than I usually do, which is probably about 10,000 calories total. And she wanted to wake up early the next morning for church. And I was for it, but I told her, I said, "Look, I'm swollen, and I can feel it. My
I'm like,
eyes
"No,
are,
you're
you know,
not."
extra
Yeah.
squinty at times.
Your
and,
rings, if you wear rings, they don't
Yeah.
fit the same. You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
and you know, it's just in my face is where I feel it the most. And of course, you look leaner sometimes whenever you wake up in the morning, but
Yeah.
you just don't
And
feel
he's
well.
like,
And I
I
get
feel
that.
so swollen. And like,
Yeah.
I don't see it. I'm like, I don't see it. I think it's just in your head.
But you feel
But-
like you're so aired up. If you got in water, your nipples wouldn't get wet. Like you would just be like,
For sure.
Floating. Yeah.
that's how you
Exactly.
feel. That's the exact way you feel. Oh.
I would choose the food hangover over the alcohol
Yeah.
hangover 100%
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, but sometimes even like I don't know, food hangover, the food isn't as fun as alcohol, depending on what you're doing. Because sometimes
Sure.
I've even eaten like I've eaten bad foods on Sundays. I'm like eating it, and then next thing I know, it's like say in the morning I ate like shit donuts and everything, and then it's like 3 o'clock. I'm eating some ice cream, and I honestly feel like shit, and I'm eating it. But the power, I don't know, something about the power of just knowing that I don't get to eat it tomorrow just lets me force more of that shit in my. And I'm like, I don't want any more, but I'm gonna eat all of this.
And I'm all for it. So with me, it's either I'm just going straight food, like an asshole for one night, or I'm gonna do alcohol. But every time I have alcohol, I'm gonna get food afterward.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a double whammy. It's not one or the other. It's like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we're all hungover the next day, and we're also eating.
But
like,
I
Greasy
waffles.
burritos, nothing better than a Pepsi and a greasy burrito after you're
Oh, it's
hungover.
Whataburger for me, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Whataburger.
Whataburger. about $40 worth.
No, it's ridiculous.
That's
He
I'm the
orders
same
everything
way.
on the menu.
I'm the same way because you want a little bit of everything.
You want options.
Yeah.
You want a
Yeah.
bite of this, bite of that.
I
come
just
back
and
to
then
it
throw the
later
rest.
on.
I have no problem. As bad as this sounds, throwing food away.
No, he won't throw it away. He'll eat it all.
I'll make sure, and that's another
It's
thing too.
gone.
So whenever I try to be cognizant of whenever I'm shopping, or whenever she's shopping for us. If, like, for instance, today I told her that I wanted frosted mini wheats in the individual packs, and she's like, "Well, why don't I just get a whole box?" I said, "No, because if I get the
If
whole
I get
box,
the whole
it's
box,
going to be done."
It's gonna be
I'm
good.
the same way.
So
So-
if I can just control it, and psychologically, I'm just looking at one. That's all that I can get.
I'm the same
Yeah.
way. And there's a little tricks you got to play. Like, that's the way you get. Because if I get a
Yeah.
bag of, like, this, how do you say, Sieta chips? Sieta? They're, like, made by the agave plant. They're, like, really healthy chips.
Are
They're
they
delicious.
the blue ones,
See?
the blue
They got
corn.
SET or something like that. But they're delicious. And they're kind of they're a little bit healthier as chips. But if
Mm-hmm.
I open that bag up, it's done.
Like
the whole
hot
bag.
chips or something like
They have
that.
hot chips. They have lime. They have regular chips. Yeah, but I smoke. There's no way. And if it's a small bag, I'm with you. I can just eat the bag. I'm good. But if it's a big bag, I'm gonna eat them all.
And that's another thing. So whenever it comes to, like, sitting down at a restaurant, if the chips and salsa or chips and queso are on the table, I'm getting them. Even whenever my
Yeah.
food's in front of me, I'm getting more
Yeah.
and more and more.
Well, I'm
Take
actually probably
advantage
gonna
of
dip my food in the queso.
I've done that too. I've done that. We've run out of chips and we've had queso left over. I'll bring that over to my
Yeah.
plate. No questions asked. That's mine.
But I don't. Depending on how your body composition is, I don't see much of a difference when I do that. Even on a weekly basis, once a week, eat like just dog shit. My body doesn't change. I might have a fluffier day the next day or something, but usually it stays about the same.
Consistent.
Yeah.
And that's the same for the most part with me and Crystal. I never see her change, but you know yourself. You see yourself in the mirror
Right.
every single day. For me, what's attributed to that lately is the lack of consistency with my macronutrients that I always hit. So I was under eating for after Thanksgiving. I think I just dropped way off and never really hit my macronutrients consistently,
Right.
or even caloric intake.
I know I don't hit mine.
But that's one thing that I was really trying to be conscious of this year, and I already feel a better.
You just feel better.
A lot better.
What's crazy, man, is I do fasting, and then I thought because I used to weigh out everything back in the day, so I was like, I'm kind of used to. I know about what 6 ounces of this is, and I know about how many grams of protein I'm getting because I eat the same foods. Usually,
Yeah,
it's the same.
we do too.
But it's good. I season my food up. I use good. I mean, it's good. I eat a lot of
Yeah.
bacon. I eat a lot of like right now. I've noticed I'm eating like legitimately almost all meat, like carnivore-ish diet, but I'll still have some fruit here and there. But I've always eaten a lot of meat. But then I started like a few months ago. I kept up with my macronutrients, just my calories, just to see what's going on. Dude, I was like, oh my god, because my BMR is like almost 3,000. But I bet you I'm only getting a little over 2,000 calories, maybe sometimes right at 3,000.
So were you dropping weight?
Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'll build muscle. I don't understand. Like,
Do you think it's the change in stimulus from just a completely different diet from how you were eating before?
yeah, I don't. Maybe because even the guys that like I went to this is back when I went to Total Nutrition or 5-Star Nutrition. Sorry, and they're like, dude, you're gonna fast, do all this stuff. You're not gonna gain any muscle. You're gonna eat and all this. Every time I go back in there, I would lose body fat and gain muscle. I know testosterone's boosted with fasting and things like that. But I guess maybe I was eating a lot of red meat, like nutrient dense food.
I feel a difference whenever I have red meat as opposed to chicken.
And
The-
not to cut you off, I was a big component of not red meat for a couple years back. I was like, I just didn't like it as much. I would take chicken over red meat.
See, I would always choose red meat over, but I think the stigma that it carries, it can give you gout. It's bad for your joints. Too much is bad for you. High blood pressure. I think that's just overplayed by the media. And
I really
everyone
do too,
think
because
a lot of things.
I did carnivore. I was telling her 2 years ago, a whole year, every quarter, I would get my blood tested. I literally ate steak every day. I think about mid-year, I started throwing eggs, and I realized you could do cheese. Essentially everything you can get from an animal.
How are your shits?
Like, dude, diarrhea. Like, you
Right.
couldn't trust a fart. And I was thinking, how is this possible? I'm dead serious. And then so I'm kind of, because it's carnivore month now, that's kind of, I've been eating a lot of carnivore because I follow Mark Bell. Joe Rogan's doing it now.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens with him because he always tells about it, so I can't wait to talk about it. But you literally think you'd be, because I had somebody ask me today about it. You ain't plugged up? I'm like, dude, hell no. But I drink a lot of water. I drink a gallon a day at
Yes.
least. So But I think that your body uses all that. I use a lot of red meat and bacon, and I do the bacon to substitute for fats because I'm eating sirloin, not really ribeye. I don't like all that fat.
I like
So
the
it's
dinner
super
cut
lean.
also.
I just it just tastes. I just like it better. And then, but so that you need some fats to run off of because I have very low carbs, under 50, and my carbs come from like fruit or very little vegetables. But I don't do the carbs thing that much. It's just I don't need it. And I wonder if your body's using all of that tissue to build your tissue. Especially I try to work out like a savage. I try not to fuck around. When I work out, I try it to be like seriously like some real shit. I wonder if it's like there's nothing left to do. It's just like some liquid.
I don't know. Do you supplement with electrolytes? Not even. And that's another thing, man.
And this year I want to do more things like what you're doing. I want to be more. I claim to be the meat suit scientist, but I've been very lackadaisical in some of my science. Like I need to get more into. Just I want to be optimal. I feel like I'm optimal diet wise, but like then I think about supplementation with more vitamin. I do the relentless. I started getting on the relentless vitamin packs. Those are awesome. It's got everything you need morning and night. But like electrolytes, I know I cramp, dude. When I go about rock climbing, I there's sometimes it'll be the first route of the day. I get halfway up and I'm starting to cramp. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah. And I mean, whenever you talk about meat only, evolutionarily speaking, they would have meat only. You know, it was you didn't have like a carb tree. You know, maybe an apple tree, but nothing you would stumble upon every single day. So that little bit of fruit, you know, it's probably perfect for what your body would have required back then. But I think we've just evolved so far since then that you probably might require a little bit more for glycogen and for muscle repair. That's why whenever even people that run the keto diet, it's often they'll get the keto flu if they don't supplement with electrolytes because they're just depleted so quickly and it comes out from excretion, the urine and the breath. So that's one thing that I think if I were ever to run the carnivore diet, which I've talked about time and time again, just never have, I would probably just supplement with electrolytes primarily. I think other than
I eat lots of salt. Thinking about electrolytes,
Okay.
ton. I don't hold back, dude. On salt at all, or seasonings for minerals. But salt. But you're probably right. I could probably go get those little packets or some pills.
He does like Pedialyte. He has like the Pedialyte packages.
I'll do Pedialyte and put them in just a gallon of water. Honestly, just for flavor. If I'm carrying a gallon around, I'll do it a lot of the time just for flavor because I do salt my food also. And at the same time, I get an adequate amount of carbs every single day.
Yeah, see, mine are probably under 50 for sure most of the time. And then if I do I'm not opposed to carbon layering. Like, when I go rock climbing, dude, I eat carbs. I eat whatever.
And that's good. I would say, because would you say that you're in keto whenever you're eating the 50 grams? Well, because it's coming from fructose.
Yeah, I mean the most.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. Maybe I'm in there. Maybe I'm in keto every once in a while.
Yeah.
I believe that you can. I mean, there's studies that show that you can like be a fat burner. Your body's primarily a fat burner, but you can take some carbs and then perform off those carbs as well. Be a sugar burner at that time, and then go right back to fat burning after that's done.
Definitely, but I don't think you can be the opposite. I don't think you can be primarily glucose and then next day be fat, because the glycogen will be for sports performance, or you know, for lack of a better term, you know, whenever you're rock climbing, just anything basically high activity.
Right.
Whenever people are running keto, so whenever you're born, you're in ketosis because you're living off the fat. So it's called like the fourth trimester, and people think that, you know, glucose is our main burner in our body. It is, but we evolved. You know, the day that we got off the tit, we started ingesting glucose, and it's a simpler process. And your body's recognizing it, saying, "Hey, we don't need to produce it on our own. We can get it from an exogenous source. Let's use this. It's easier to do that."
Right.
What people don't understand is that it's not optimal anymore. You can live off of fats and protein only. You don't have to have any carbs for the rest of your life, and you'll be able to live. But without the other two, you'll die. Whenever people are in ketosis, what they do is for instance, I have a client that will throw in a high carb day with a keto day, and I said that's not how it works.
Right.
Your body's using one or the other for energy, so if you're ingesting both, it's going to store the other instead of utilizing it.
And if you put fats and carbs together, fats are getting stored as fat.
Right.
Because triglycerides or sugar, for a better term, are getting burned first as your energy. That's the first energy source the body wants to burn.
Right.
So you put in a carb, turns it to sugar, it's going to use it as energy, and then you apply some fat on top. It's like, well, we're good.
Right.
I'm going to store that. Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening to him right there.
For sure, yes.
Why am I staying fat? I can't lose this. That refeed day, bro, is like you're doing it wrong.
I know it. Yeah, we're making some strides.
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure about like carb refeeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you believe in that? Do you
Like carb
Refeeding,
cycling or
no, just refeed days.
Like
Like if you
refeed
have
days.
a low, say people are somebody, it's really popular in the bodybuilding world. Whenever you
Yeah.
have either consistently low carbs and then one day out of the week, or maybe one day
Oh,
every other
okay.
week, your coach will give you a refeed day.
like refeed like
Okay.
the glycogen levels in your muscles? But
I don't think that it's as beneficial as they see. I think maybe for psychological reasons they see themselves getting
Blow
bigger,
up.
so that
The
you know,
veins pop.
it kind of gives them extra motivation. And you know, maybe it is practice, because I know when they have what's called peak week, they're low on carbohydrates or sometimes depleted of all carbohydrates.
Right.
Once they
Until
introduce
the
the
day
carbs,
before.
their bodies are going to use that up and still the
Swell up.
glycogen swell up, and you know, if they time it perfectly, it could be to their advantage. But I don't think it serves the advantage that their coaches might think that it.
I agree with
does.
you. I mean, it's just been working for years though for them. So
It has 100%, but I also know that.
And I've never
their
been a bodybuilder.
ways- right? But what you're all, and neither have I, so I'm not claiming to.
right.
to-
But
to
I'm with you on the
experience
science
anything.
side of it. It just doesn't.
And I think it's old science, and I think that it's easy to buy into. One thing that I have always thought about bodybuilders, or I respect the hell out of them, they are very disciplined. I don't believe that they do enough research on themselves,
Right.
and care to learn enough to what works best with their body. They're really good at doing what they're told to do, and I think a lot of the times. So a couple of years back, there was a few clients that I had that were metabolism rebuilding, and it was people that had competed before, and I kind of got their template of their coaches.
Their body was jacked up.
It was they went from working out, eating high carbs every single day, and the day that they wanted to compete, the very next day they cut their calories in half completely and started doing an hour of cardio, which is going to completely damage your body, because you go from doing one thing. So if you're throwing the whole kitchen sink at it from day one, you're just going to have to keep doing more and more physically and cutting back more and more on the food in
Right.
order to keep seeing the positive effects.
Right.
Positive effects. But what that's doing to your metabolism, it's like, oh, I've got to hold on to what food little food I am
Whatever's-
getting.
right.
So whenever they have those binge days on their competition show day, after they're done, their body's going into shock, and
What are you doing to me?
they're eating, everything that I mean, don't get me wrong, I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
It looks like a fucking dream. Donuts, pizza.
But you're
hamburgers.
freaking out.
Yeah.
Your
body-
your
your
gut
body's
biome's like,
freaking out.
what is this stuff?
Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of the times their metabolism becomes damaged because they didn't take care of it that way.
Right.
And there's no way to taper. I think tapering from the get-go, starting off with as little as possible, zero cardio. If I were to run, somebody through a process like that, it'd be zero cardio until maybe the last 1 or 2 weeks. Do as much as you can, manipulate as much as you can through the workout and diet before you even get to that level.
Before you get to watering out, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And even, I mean, I think you can still get pretty dry without a cardio session. It's just.
And to be real, they're also on really good. You gotta know you gotta do your drugs right.
Definitely that too. Depending.
That's
on what
true.
They are.
I mean,
yeah, for
you're
sure.
not gonna compete in
100%.
bodybuilding and win. If you're going into bodybuilding so natural, you're getting
Yeah.
last. You're getting dead last.
100%. Right. And some that are sanctioned or not tested, even like the Muscle Man, you'd say that they're drug-free,
Natural,
but,
yeah. With those shoulder
I'm not-
caps, they're like,
Baloney.
Definitely, yeah. And I think my limbs have always been leaner. So I'm speaking, anecdotally. This is just myself. I've been able to get pretty dry on completely natural and on a minimal cardio.
right. Oh yeah.
Minimal cardio workout, and just manipulating my diet. the
Diet.
entire
It's all
time.
diet. I tell everybody that I train, like, you can twice a week in the gym. If your kitchen's on point, you're gonna get shredded.
That and another thing,
100%.
I don't think that people that are in the gym are giving themselves a long enough time to build a solid foundation before they advance into a bodybuilding
bodybuilding
stage.
competition.
I think they see other people
Yeah.
doing it, and people look great doing it. And if they want to do it for them to prove something to themselves, and I'm rooting for them. I don't think it's the best thing for their body, because what you'll see is if somebody doesn't have a good foundation, they go and they lose what little muscle mass they might have been building, and they just look skinny with some tone, instead
Right.
of being able to unveil years and years of solid work and proper movements and
That's what you just said. The years.
years. I'm thinking 5 minimum before you try to compete, and 5
Yeah.
with because I worked out in high school during athletics, but I skipped reps, didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So whenever I started taking it seriously, there's still I'm learning every single day. I tell Crystal, I said, if I asked you to dig a hole, would you rather me give you a spoon or would you want a shovel? And I see a lot of people digging with spoons in the gym. They're
Right.
doing the small workouts that really,
Right.
whenever they should be doing big compound movements.
Because Instagram ruined everybody.
It does,
Yes.
and that's one thing that I try to preach also is that the people that you're watching on Instagram didn't get to where they are now doing those
Doing what they
movements.
did.
They're on level 18 and you're on level 1. They're just level 18 looks cool on
Level
Instagram.
18 looks really cool.
Yeah, they're on the half Bosu ball and they got like weights and bands everywhere, and they look badass as shit. And they probably only do that for Instagram. That's probably not even a workout they actually do. But yeah, it's like levels. It's like their blade is already so sharp. They have to use such a fine stone to sharpen the rest of it to get that edge they need.
Right.
Instead of being just like a rough, rigid stone, you just got to take chunks off still.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make it, I think personally, longevity wise, it sounds crazy. The best people to learn lifting from is power lifters. The basic compound movements, squat, deadlift, and bench press. And deadlift is not even so necessary. And I would suggest for normal people that aren't competing to lift heavy deadlifts to do it with a shrug bar or the triangle bar. So it puts the bar in the middle of your body, not so much in the front.
A better center of gravity.
But not to maybe go full like power lifter mode, get real heavy, but it's a good foundation. You get good form, you get a little stronger, and you get a base idea of how to move those easy movements. And then from then on, like go to somewhere else. I personally like the functional full body, but it's really hard to learn a bunch of those movements, especially in gyms around this area. Like CrossFit will teach you some of that stuff, but some of it's super wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Like their kettlebell swings are super wrong. They're not super wrong, but
They're not super right either.
I'm thinking longevity. When I'm 50, 60, I can still do kettlebell swings. What they would call an American kettlebell swing over. And I've argued this with people. I actually been called out. That's bad for your shoulders where it's fully over your head. I don't think it's maybe bad for your shoulders, but I can see if I do a lot of kettlebell swings, that's probably a little overkill for your shoulders every day with a 50-pound kettlebell.
And then it's like, what do you consider bad for your shoulders? I mean, if you're consistently doing it, you have that range of motion and you
Right.
have the strength in that range of motion. If you're not doing it, you either want to get yourself there and have that mobility, or you don't ever want to do it. And then maybe later on in your life, you'll never be able to have your arms over your shoulder.
True.
So is it bad because you're not doing it, or is it bad because you're worried about the injury that you might get from it, which is always a potential.
I think it's because being a big, heavy weight, swinging, like maybe in his mind, he was thinking you could get that same range of motion and work something out of that area, in that area, like above your head, with some bands or something less like catastrophic if something goes wrong. I guess that's what he's getting at. But I'm with you on this, and I had shit shoulders, so to do those now, like, and feel good, I'm like, it's helped me. CrossFit did help my shoulder range a lot.
And that's another thing. I think
A lot.
people they lean more towards flexibility rather than mobility. Whenever mobility is flexibility plus strength. So you have that full range of motion under control. Anybody can probably do a kettlebell based on watching it, a kettlebell swing based on watching what they see, but feeling it and knowing that they're in control rather than the weight controlling them. That's whenever you become more vulnerable and more prone to injury. And I think I've never advocated, or honestly, I've never really used kettlebells in my programming or anything like that, or in my workouts even up until recently. So I couldn't sit here and tell you how to properly perform a swing and tell you exactly where to leverage your strength from, or where to swing it through
Hips
your
in your
legs,
butt.
hip hinging and everything.
You
like
shouldn't
that.
be and I say this because I went. You go through on it, you get certified, and then I also like Strong First. He's on YouTube. He's got a good weight. So like I guess you can think of it different ways, and also weight, like heavier kettlebells. I think you should do it the way I've been taught, which is like a soft knee. You're not doing a squat, and as your only thing moving the kettlebell is your butt and your hips as it launches off of your hips. It comes up to your eye level or above, however you want to. It's free floating, and then I pull that back. I essentially pull it back down, and there is no bending or moving of my hips preparing for the catch. I'm actually standing straight up until my wrists touch my legs again, and then my glutes and my butt,
Fire up.
they fire up. They slow the kettlebell down. It'll swing around and literally touch me on my butthole. And then, but my lower back isn't fired up. My glutes, my obliques, and everything is blasting it back in the air. The way I say butthole, I tell my clients, it sounds bad, but you'll know you're doing it right.
Definitely doing them wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, not say
But I
wrong.
wanna learn.
I would say wrong. I think Strong First on the internet, on YouTube, do that guy.
I've watched Kettlebell Kings.
They're good too. The Kettlebell Kings are good.
Seen the programming that they do also.
And there's different kinds of people can squat, but people are like, that's my lower back. And I always just think for longevity purposes, if you're firing your lower back up with a big swinging motion,
Yeah.
it's probably not this. And there's two different ways. There's ways you can swing it, and there's kind of like a clean way, like where it kind of like bends your elbows. I don't think that's a bad way either.
Okay.
I like kettlebells personally. I got into them because I like functional workouts, and then my shoulders are trashed for a long time. So barbells put them in weird spots. Like I had to be there. A kettlebell will essentially move out of my way. So it just feels better. And then it's the only thing I'm like, I don't want to do no. It's like the best cardio of all time. It's fast. It's over with quick. Like kettlebell swings are. They have I forget what study it was. It's from Russia, but they gave a heavy kettlebell swing regimen to a strongman and then to a marathon runner, and they call it like the what the hell factor or what the F factor. They both got better at their practice just from adding those.
Would you say that kettlebells are more technical? Kettlebell movements more technical than Olympic movements?
I don't. Yeah, I guess they can be, but you can get away with not being more. I would say because the barbell's going to punish you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's going to make you do what it wants to do eventually, especially the more weight you add. Kettlebells, you can kind of like, you can manipulate. But yeah, you still get jacked up. Like if you do kettlebells wrong, you can get jacked up. Like when I see people like at the gym
Yeah.
swinging kettlebells and they're like squatting down and they're swinging it out and they're like stopping it with
And
their
it's like
arms.
Lingering
And I'm like,
around.
or I can see them, they're swinging it, but they're like lifting it with their arms and their shoulders, and they're restricting it back down with their arms, and then they're like squatting with it, and they're not using power and like momentum to bring it back up. They're like, I mean, they're swinging their back with
They're
it,
using their shoulders.
and then
their
everything comes back up,
forearms.
but like their back starts it, and then they're back in their arms, so everything's engaging all wrong instead of like. This is not safe. Long term, you're going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, kettlebell swings jack me up. Like, yeah, you probably did it wrong.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of people at the gym like doing things
A lot. Well,
that they're
yeah,
not supposed to be doing.
I've noticed I have friends that are in shape, guys I've known my whole life that look good, and they go to the gym. They've been going to the gym for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And they hit me up on the internet, hey, dude, man, like, can you help me with this and this? I'm like, dude, you look great. Like, and I understand maybe they're not all super diced up, but they look healthy and good. They're not dad bod. They got chest. They got some shoulders. They look good. I'm like, they're like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm like, you've been working out for 5 years since I've known you. You look great. They're like, well, I mean, I know how to move the stuff, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and that just
it-
goes to show you.
yeah.
It's all about consistency. It's a bad program done consistently beats a good program done inconsistently. So you can go in progressive overload, even if you're doing the wrong, doing the movement wrong, not feeling it where you need to be. Progressive overload's you're gonna yield results from that.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
learning
I squatted wrong my entire life until I went to a powerlifting gym. And now I
In
did
gym?
one. Like, now I did it. It doesn't hurt to squat anymore.
how were you squatting before? You quad dominant?
Yeah, very. And I was very high bar and very Olympic lifting. Like, I got wider hips, so he got me out nice and wide. Shout out Stuart at the Iron Will Gym. I'm just dude knows what he's doing. And he's also a massage therapist, but he also knows the body. Like, he's actually a very smart, educated man.
He rubbed you out afterward.
Yeah, dude, I'll take it all day. He's strong as shit too. But essentially, he looked at the body in two sections: the upper body, as long as my body's straight, I would low bar it, so under my traps in that meat, and I'm gonna grind it up. I get real wide hands, and then I got wider feet, toes pointed out, and then I would twerk. I call it twerk booty. And then once I'm twerk bootied, my upper body isn't moving. It's rigid. It's slightly forward, but the bar is in line. Like if you had a rope drop straight down to my feet, it is right in midline of my foot, right where it needs to be, and it'll be there the entire squat. My body will never go any more forward. When I'm down at the bottom, it'll look like my chest is far forward, but my hips go back, like I'm sitting down. and then I open up not my knees, but my groin, my taint area. Like that's and it helped when he said that. I went down like nothing. There was no pressure on my knees, no pressure on my ankles. He was like, "How does that feel?" I was like, "Powerful, good, best squats I ever did. Heavy squats I ever did were with him. I don't do heavy squats. I don't think they're necessary because I don't do heavy anything. I don't do heavy anything up in 90% range very often because I just don't think it's necessary. I do it like maybe once a month, where I'd say my brain on my book. It's called like Man Days, where I go get CNS'd out. I get real heavy, like
Kind of like a benchmark.
well, no, like I take my
Just
body to it,
tax
like
yourself.
I just blast it like heavy, like med ball 150 like throws. Like I go really get after some heavy, like it's probably almost not even good for it. But so my body's always going, hey, this dude's stupid. Every once in a while, he has these days where he just goes ham. So we got to be prepared. Always be prepared. I try to get the Whoop I have. I try to get I have my TV so I get my monitor on, and I try to keep myself in the 90% range for like 40 minutes.
So you can project that thing to a TV.
Oh yeah, dude, right off my phone. It's so off, dude. The Whoop.
How does it work?
It's about to die. So it's all heart rate. I mean, dude, this is the best thing ever. So this is like it has my recovery, it has my calories so far through the day, it has my day strain, it has my sleep, and then you go. I'm about to die. It goes into detail. Disturbances last night 10. I had in bed 8 hours, 8.44 hours, 86% efficiency. Hour and a half of REM sleep, 42 minutes of deep sleep, light sleep 5 hours, yada yada. And I can do this, and so it tells me my day strain. Moderate day like this is a good will make you stronger without much stress on your body. So like anywhere around 16 and 18 is hardcore day. I've only been 18 one time. 16 was like I was like, oh, it's 18 for sure, dude. 16 was like, what? Oh my god, what do I have to do? But it keeps you in track with all the super athletes that wear this shit too. What I like about this is recovery. It does my resting heart rate. My resting heart rate's between 45 and 48. Awesome. If it's anything above that when I wake up, I know that I'm either getting sick or recovering. And it'll tell me like today you don't need to beat the shit out of yourself. And I like it the most for my sleep because I was bad years ago about not sleeping.
I'm all for the tools for tracking, but I'm also, like I said earlier, I'm a huge head case. So I would, for me personally, I think that if I felt great and I looked at the Whoop stats and it said that I wasn't doing real great, I'd be like in the dumps about it. But that's just me. Also, I mean, just being able to track everything that I'm doing. So maybe one day I am doing better than I'm feeling. I'm just being a little bitch about it.
Right.
I'd get up and get after it.
Now, I do agree with you there because some days it's like, oh, you're at 57% like today. And I'm like, bitch, I could kill it today. And so I try to kill it. And I've always noticed that like my strain won't ever get as high as I think. And I don't know if my body won't allow it or if it's
subconsciously somehow just like manipulating you or I don't know. That's just the way that I think it might be.
No, I'm with you on that. If my body feels good, but sometimes I have like, back in the day before I wasn't into this stuff, but I was like, I want to have a number. I want to have something I can see a difference in, like my heart rate, something. So back in the day, I'd be like, I feel good, but I mean, I'm not like trash, but I'd probably go hard again. And then I would go hard, and then all of a sudden the next day I'd be like, dude, I feel like shit. Like I kind of feel sick. I'd go hard again, and before I know it, something would be hurt. And I'd have like a week of like kind of like getting through some bullshit. Like, man, my shoulder kind of feels funny. I'm having an impingement, and then when I have had this and try to maintain like an active recovery day, which my active recovery day might be hard as shit to somebody,
right?
But I've never felt better consistently on a daily basis, and I'm not even gonna say this, haven't had any injuries like on my hands or rock climbing. Like I haven't had anything. My knees haven't really had any issues. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Subconscious might be some bullshit too. But if it's working, I'm willing to pay for it.
Could be.
Of course.
And I think, that's probably something I've got to give it a shot on my own. But yeah, the super athletes, I think it's eventually going to be to the point where, unless it's regulated, I would say like, because I know LeBron James wears one or something. You know?
The Whoop is like the most, they say, accurate.
Yeah, so what if another team wanted to buy his stats to see how he's feeling one day? And
Hey, you better not put his shit on. You can keep. I think you keep your go from on there, but
I think because I don't remember where I heard it, but a lot of the super athletes, like you said, are wearing it. I think there's probably going to be rules against that.
Right.
I would not able to monitor other athletes or other teams.
right. But also, dude, genetics is real. Like you can you can check out LeBron shit all you want. You're not LeBron.
Touche.
You don't have those super freak
True.
genetics, you know. And they also,
He's at 50%. I might want to go play one-on-one with him. Nah.
yeah,
Nah.
like his 50%. Who knows what it like? And also, when it's, I hate to say it, now, LeBron James, I don't think it's at all, but a lot of those guys are on steroids, and not just like testosterone. I'm talking real steroids, the kind that like make you a super freak. So some of those guys you know monitor dude be like, what in the fuck is this dude doing? Well, he's half a gorilla because he's on super juice.
How would you say that
Which I'm not.
steroids other than synthetic testosterone would benefit an athlete?
It's better recovery.
Just
And
for the
certain, and
recovery?
just it's like kind of the same essentially the way you look at those super funny workouts. You want to like specify, say I want to be a power lifter. I'm gonna get on some trend. I'm gonna get strong as shit. My cardio's gonna be flatlined. I can't even walk fast to that door without like literally sweating and passing out and having terrible side effects.
Right.
But I want to lift the house. Boom. Let's say I want to be a massive marathoner or a fighter. I'm going to get some EPOs. I mean, I'm going to go forever. I'm probably going to kill myself.
Lance Armstrong was on.
Yeah, I'm going to kill myself. But everybody, okay, I'll tell you this. I think personally, NFL, any professional athlete should be on whatever steroids their team doctor has them on, monitored, but an honest doctor that's going to do it for their recovery. Because these people are doing crazy shit for a long period of time, working their bodies hard. And I personally think that with certain steroids in small amounts, like in the off season, maybe even during season, will probably be better for them in the long run.
I think we should just have a league all steroids.
Yeah, it'd be, and no one watch any other league.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did steroids from 21. I did every steroid as much as possible. I mean, literally, dude, if they had a syringe as big as that bottle, I'd be like, yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, every side effect. It was the most terrible thing ever that happened to me. Like,
What were some of those side effects?
oh, dude, trend cough. I want to say, I might be wrong. When you're pinning yourself, if you go through, like you can pin yourself as long as you have like at least an inch needle. You bury that thing, it's in the muscle. So you don't have to draw back for blood or nothing, but you might go through a vein. You might pull out and see blood shoot. You probably went through a vein. But if you do that with trend, I want to say, I'm not sure what happens. But anyway, you do it wrong, the injection, or you go too fast. I can't remember what it was. You get a cough for like 30 minutes. Anybody that's ever going to listen to this podcast that's been on trend knows it's like you think you're really going to die. You get burns going in. It hurts. You get
Instantaneously?
oh, dude. Like within 2-3 minutes, you're like, I mean, it's hard
Did you
to.
ever do any research on what might have caused that?
No, I wouldn't fuck with that shit. I will. I'm on TRT right now. I've been on TRT for like a year. I was scared to get on it because I told the doctor, dude, I've been down this road. I'm like, my dad's a supernatural kind of dude. I was raised that way. I tried naturally to get my shit back up. It wasn't working. And when I found out, I tell everybody, when I found out I was just getting my blood checked. He was like, dude, your testosterone's really low. I was like 7%. I was jacked. My wife was like, yeah, whatever. He needs no extra help. But then he said, when was the last time you had a morning wood? And I was like,
You're right.
dude, I was like, I can't even remember. And he was like, early signs of like, he's at your dipstick, bro. He was like, and you can do what you want to do. I understand where your stance is. And I tried like food and everything. It just wasn't working. And then I thought to myself, like, I actually talked to a bunch of guys that were never in gyms. They didn't give a shit about gyms. I worked with all 30 in my area. And I have a theory too that we're the GMO generation. We've been eating steroids our whole life. Girls got titties all of a sudden. Dudes, we got bigger people. Everybody that's 30 has like shit for testosterone. Even guys that weren't like meatheads, It's like, what's the problem here?
Super low.
So it was like, it starts going down anyway for age. Some guys, I met a guy that was like 60 something or 70. He said his was still 880. Beast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not for me. It's not my future. I ruined myself when I was an idiot. I didn't know. And then after that, you get on every antibiotic that you get from a nutrition store. You might as well just get actual gear because at least you're not digesting that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it. But so I got on it and I talked to these guys. I was like, I'm doing it. So as long as my doctor maintains me, keeps me at a level, I don't have side effects. I don't have to take anastrozole. I don't make too much estrogen. When I first got on for a week, when my testosterone came up, of course estrogen's going to come with it. I'm a pretty chill dude. But I was getting bitchy about things I wouldn't bitchy about. Went and told my doc. He goes, estrogen. I'm like, So he gave me an anastrozole to take 3 times a week. But from what I've read, if you take an anastrozole, it stops
Immediately.
So I just took one, and everything went away. And I don't take it anymore, and I haven't had a problem since because I'm not taking too much. Yeah. I'm at 1,000, 800, 1,000. I want no more than 1,200. I like to be at 1,000 because I just don't want to. I don't want any side effects. I remember trend. I would have extra sheets in the pillow, but I was on trend stacked with Sustanon 250, which is like I think 7 or 9 kinds of testosterone, because there's different esters in testosterone. Like propionate hits you in like 3 days. Cyprinate, which is like from my doctor, it's like a 7-day ester. Every 7 days, I got to stick myself in the butt because it'll start petering off.
Yeah.
But like,
So that's what you're doing now, Cyprinate with
Cyprinate.
TRT?
yep.
Okay.
Do you think that's probably why now you have low testosterone because of the
Oh,
all the stuff you did
yeah,
back then,
100%.
probably?
Yeah, I trashed myself. My endocrine system went. Oh, this guy's feeding me, like what a TRT dose is taking, like all the juice heads back in the day, all my meathead buddies now. That's not even their cruising, what they call cruising dose. Most of them are like 250, 300, and that's fine if you have no side effect. But that's their cruising. They're blasting 5, 6, 7. I mean, they'll have 3,000 counts. I've had buddies with 3,000 and 4,000 count testosterone counts.
I believe it.
But she comes with a price, man. I believe in like diminishing returns is a real thing. Like,
And also, whenever you're shooting that much into yourself, in order to keep seeing the benefits of it, you're gonna have to keep getting higher and higher
doing it.
eventually.
100%. You're in, like, that's what happened. My body goes, this guy's giving me testosterone. I don't need this shit anymore. I'm good. Which is crazy because I had kids, years after. Like, so none of that was a problem. But it just, and eventually now, I mean, taking synthetic, you can't have kids, which is fine. My wife's tied up. We're good. 2's enough. Straight. But, like, I have to be on it or just be prepared to deal with that low testosterone thing. And at the time he caught me, I think it was like I was at the, like, every bit of juice I had left was out, and I was on my way down. You know what I mean? I looked great. I felt strong as shit, but it was coming. I did notice more fatigue, and I have noticed muscle density much better. I'm a high motor guy, and I noticed I have more energy. And mood is enhanced. I'm a pretty upbeat dude. After that year of being on TR, it takes about a month for it to fully get in there. And I was like, I'm with you. I'm in forever now.
Yeah.
And eventually I'll go to pellets when I'm in my 40s or 50s. He told me not now because it's pretty strong and it mimics testosterone perfectly. So
Bioidentical.
yeah. And so what I do is I go get my blood taken from the doctor every few months. I just think it's healthy. And you're gonna get thicker blood. It's gonna happen. I mean, you're taking synthetic testosterone. It's gonna happen.
So did he give you an idea of how much more of the pellet would be equivalent to what you're getting?
No, I don't know what.
Synthetic?
But he said when he went from the injectables to the pellet, he said like the next morning he was like, "Whoa!"
So where do they implant that?
In your butt.
Okay.
And he after like 3 days, you can feel him for like
so
2
what
or
is
3
the
days.
release process? How many
Every
pellets?
it's like it depends on what you're trying to get you at. So I think it's like 6 or 7 pellets, but each heartbeat allows a little bit of testosterone.
Wow.
So the
Okay,
more you
so
work out, the faster the pellets go.
Yeah. Okay. That was my next question. Is it giving an equal dose or at a certain amount of time?
Yeah, it's just I guess every heartbeat's the same dose, but the more heartbeats you get, the faster it's gonna rip through you. And I'm hoping one day, Jesus, there'll be like something that we can just be like, and it's on us, and like, all right, your testosterone's just gonna be making like.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll ever mess
No.
or that. They've had those like a deodorant stick where you
Yeah, the
put it on,
creams.
and creams
I'm
and
hoping
stuff
like some
that.
robot shit though. Like they have like a little pump. Because I ain't gonna lie, like the last 2 weeks I've been on perfect. Everything's good. Everything's fine. But I took 3 weeks off. It's not good to be like fucking around with that. Like letting it go down, getting estrogen and mess. It's not good. So
Just to give it a shot, or was there a reason?
I just got busy and I would forget. Like, oh, tomorrow, fuck. And I'd just like, forget it. Next week, I'll just get back on track. And then it was like 3 weeks. I'm like, man. And I honestly didn't feel any different. I mean, when I was doing that 275-pound press, I was like 3 weeks
that
behind on
snatch.
testosterone or whatever. Yeah, snatch, that's what I call it.
Yeah.
But my the estrogen, I'm fucking around with estrogen. I might start having a little issue. I might have to take an estradiol. It's just not good to like, it's just one of those things I wish I didn't do it. Every kid I see that's young, I'm going to take this. I'm like, dude, I mean, do what you want.
Yeah.
But you're making it. You're good, bro. You're making all the good stuff.
Yeah, making all the good stuff, and even at that, like you said, if you're gonna take it, people think that it's a magic pill. You still have to diet properly. You still have to be on a good workout program. You have to know what you're taking also, because you can, I don't know if you can compound different ones and then have negative benefits, but I would assume that the side effects might be higher.
The exact side effects from it, yeah.
So I don't think people take into account certain side effects that would come even long term. I think they're just thinking weeks at a time.
Yeah, let me
years
just
down the road.
clarify. If you see a guy that's like jacked out of his face, or a beast at whatever his thing is, and he's on a bunch of steroids, and you're like, well, he's on steroids. I swear to God, you can take all the steroids he's on, and if you're not you still won't do or look or operate
Yeah,
like
pretty
they're
much.
because they're putting in all it does is allow you to do more work.
Right.
Essentially, it allows you to do more work. It might help you get stronger more than than endurance. Yeah, which point you're taking, like you're saying. But those people are putting in the diet and the work. You don't get shredded. You can eat like dog shit and take steroids, and you're not gonna get shredded. Trust
You
me,
get fat.
I've done it. I remember when I was younger, I'm just like blasting all this stuff and eating like gorditas. Like there's rice, there's meat, some vegetables. And I'm like, why am I not diced? What's the deal? Like I took Winstrol, which is supposed to make you diced. I just got huge.
Does that one have water retention?
No,
Okay.
it should. But Winstrol is something you take when you're already like
Trying to get
7% body fat.
Okay, so that's
That
what
one's a
bodybuilders
That's
will
Saran
take at
wraps
the
you.
end of
Yeah,
their
the very
cycle.
which Winstrol or like Trend, dude. Oh my God.
Is that the miracle?
Hey, let me tell you something. If you just wanted to be a hot piece of ass for a summer, I'm talking, dude. Trend will shred you out. You'll have no cardio, but you will get so if you especially let your diet right, it's just insanity. And the strength's insanity. But you can't do nothing, man. You like getting under the squat bar. You're like, I don't want that. That's the things about steroids. Like I talk shit. Like yeah, they're cool. I mean, if you're competing, if I was gonna do a powerlifting contest, I'm gonna take steroids. Period.
Right.
The reason I didn't continue with powerlifting is because I knew I'd eventually get ate up with it because I'm addictive, and then I'd be like juicing out of my face. And I'd be 275 pounds. So I didn't, and I just rather be optimal. And I don't think optimal means taking steroids. I take TRT. Very open about it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Yeah,
I
and
just think it's good.
I've made my mind up that I will take TRT whenever I need to. I haven't gotten my blood tested in probably a little over a year, and I was out 750. So whenever you
You're
said
good.
the guy was 880, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but you're good.
And at the same time, so I know whenever there's things that I do for myself to keep, my mood elevated, myself healthy, and there's different things. So if I have a low mood and, maybe a side effect that some people might attribute to low testosterone, I'm thinking, well, am I doing everything else right?
Right.
Am I getting away from something? Because there's so many different things that also are taken into consideration that are overlooked
Right.
that can drop your testosterone.
Also, notice if you go get your blood tested for testosterone, make sure you're like not worked out before because you go work out, you can be up. To, you could have been higher. You might have had a little bit of output because if you go and do a
probably
hard
so.
workout, you'll go and you'll dump a bad level. You're like, oh, you're low, but then you come in a week later rested. They're like, oh, you're good. You're at 1,000.
Right.
So I mean, it does like yeah. I would.
Time.
I would do what you said. And then what I did with that doctor, I told him, no, man, let's see how it works. So I started eating a bunch of red, and like tons of red meat. And I was kind of doing the carnivore diet. I was eating some vegetables, but I was like, I'm going to fix this. I'm doing everything else first. It went up for like, I think it got tested like a month after that or something. It went up a little bit, but then I got tested after that, and then went down even worse.
But this was after your other, go-to with steroids and.
Oh, this is
that
this is like a
concoction.
year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm 34. My steroids was like I was 19, 21 is when I think I finally was like I'm over this shit.
So
Holy.
those 2 years, you just
Oh,
Loaded
dude,
yourself
I'm
up.
telling you, like every 4 days I was jamming 4 cc's of something in my muscles. Your muscle can only handle like 2. I would have hematomas the size of softballs on my. You could see like if I wore gym shorts and you looked at me, you'd be like, dude, what's wrong with your hip? Give it 2 days, bro. It'd be cool. I'll rub it out. I was just an idiot, an absolute idiot. I remember going to Mexico with a buddy. We cross the border. We get over there, eat some food, go into a pharmacy, start looking. We're like, damn, dude, I don't even know what the hell, like how to ask for it. And this perfectly white boy looked just like us, walked right up to us, and he's like, hey, man, y'all play football? Nah. What are y'all here to do? I was like, just getting some shit from here. And he's like, y'all need some help? Yeah, sure do. So he like speaks fluent English, looks just like me, gets me everything I need. And also I'm hammered, drunk. And they give these preloaded syringes of 1 cc of Sustanon 250, which is a ton of it's like 7 or 9 times the testosterone, right? Preloaded with an 18 gauge syringe. You pin yourself with a 23. The bigger the number, the smaller the needle.
Yes.
You draw with the 18. An 18 is like a fucking samurai. It's like Excalibur of a needle, Hammered drunk, get my shit, it was so weird to buy it like just like that in a package. I like step back, crack one open, pull my sleeve up and just jam that thing in my arm, which I totally regret later the next day when I sobered up. Take it out of my arm. I'm like, later, dude, appreciate it. We're driving out and like in the third door of the old Z71, like a 97 model, there's like a big pocket. It'll come out perfectly. We had everything wrapped up in like cloth so it would make a bunch of noise. Put it in the door, slid that little pocket thing in there. Hopefully I won't go to get prison for this. It's happened already. They can't catch me. It's over with. and then put it in the door. But dude, that guy was a narc because as soon as we pulled in the bay, like everybody's just getting flown through, like like hey, American citizen, here, go. As soon as we pull up, I show my ID, Bay 1. I'm like, oh my god, they never found shit. But
Didn't even check you.
you know what's crazy? We go back to United States. We had a bunch of stuff. Like we thought we did ourselves good for like a year. My buddy, I still had some stuff from a guy who was getting in town. My buddy starts taking that shit, and he's like, hey, bro, it's like probably a month later, come over. I'm like, all right. I go over to his house, and he's like, pulls his pants down where he's been spot injecting in his butt. Like right in that area, it looks like holes, like worms had like burrowed holes out of his ass. Like,
Was he not like changing? Don't you have to like
no,
change?
I don't know. There was like, they went and had a doctor check everything out. His mom, he had to tell his mom, it was a big deal. We were young, It had like Ajax in it and all kinds of other bullshit.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Yeah,
They
and
gave y'all
that's
some messed up
another
stuff.
that's another thing you have to take into consideration is who you're buying it from also.
yeah, if you're gonna buy steroids, you can buy a steroid test kit. And it'll tell you exactly what's in it. You take,
Really?
it's just a little test kit,
Wow.
and it'll tell you what you got. And if you're ever gonna take steroids, don't be fucking stupid. You're already being stupid. I mean, you're already being kind of stupid. So
True.
be as smart as you can about it.
Be less
I would,
stupid.
yeah. If I was anything, if I would take steroids, I would tell my doctor, "Hey, I'm going to take steroids. Make sure I'm doing nothing super harmful to myself."
What's crazy to me is when half the women in the gym.
There's a lot of
are
girls on it. Testosterone.
steroids.
Like a lot of girls on testosterone. And a lot of these
A
med
lot of
spas
them.
are like they sell that shit to my wife, right? Oh, your testosterone's at 0. She was going in there to get her boobs done, yeah. And she was like, they're like, what? And she's like, yeah, it should be at like 150 for a female. They put her on pellets, dude. My wife started like getting aggressive, like having weird menstrual. Like it was fucking her hormones up. Problem was, usually I'm more on top of like being with her at those things. They never actually showed her paperwork of what her testosterone, like my doctor was like, here's your testosterone. Look, you can see it there.
I think that's one thing that comes with the saturated market is those little boutiques that claim to be health spas. They'll contract a doctor out for hourly pay, and if this doctor was good enough, he'd probably have his own practice. But just because he's a doctor, if he says something to you, he'll get a cut of whatever he sells to you. So it makes it more advantageous for him rather than whoever he's selling it for. So if he tells you, first off, I think women's is 5 to 50, which 150 would probably
That's
be
what I was
as
thinking.
high as I'd go.
It's high, yeah.
As
It's
high as I'd go.
high.
That would be for if somebody were to properly want
5
be
to 50.
5 to 50 deciliters is how they measure it for women. So 150 is as high as I would go, but that'd be for like somebody that wants to do bodybuilding.
Right.
Here
Yeah.
you have
Like the
girls
one that
can-
would have hair on their face, their voice will change.
Not even.
Yeah.
So that goes. And also whenever women, whenever they get their voice changing, that's well over 300
Right.
deciliters, well over, and that doesn't go away. So
No,
you
it's
can
forever.
hear it. You can, whenever you're having a conversation with people at the gym, whether or not, but and hey, they're free to do whatever they want with their body. No power to them. They look great sometimes, but you can definitely hear it.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that in my opinion, I don't think that it's worth that. Kind of like you said,
Yeah.
diminishing returns.
Yeah, like, well, eventually you're going to get old. Like, eventually you're going to get old, and, like, the shit you do now, like, that's the reason when I was younger, I was a full, like, meathead. Like, can't overtrain, it's impossible. Well, I didn't believe that. I was like, you can overtrain, but it's like, you'd be like a Navy SEAL to overtrain or something,
Right.
There's no way I'm doing that. So we can go hard, and, like, I'm taking all this shit. I'm going to get, and, like, you don't realize what you're doing, or, like, how you're beating your body up, like, training wrong. I did bench press, like heavy bench presses. I was very blessed with a heavy bench press. I've bench pressed over 500 pounds before, but my shit was so wide. There was like, I didn't know how to. Guess what? A couple years ago, I go to powerlifting gym and tell the guy like, yeah, and I was strong. I lifted. He was like, yeah, you're strong. You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, what do you mean, bro? Bench pressing heavy my whole life. Yeah, you're strong. You have a heavy bench press, but you don't do it right. That's why your shoulders are. Because I'm out here.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, and when he showed me how to do it, I'm like, oh. He goes, yeah, most of the bench press is done with your lats. Not essentially your chest, like an actual like power. If you're trying to press a lot of power, you throw.
Right.
And then when the way he showed me, like elbows in, my shoulders wouldn't have any damage. My whole life, I'm like this. It's like the worst. I don't do bench press. I don't do bench press. I hate it.
I'll do it from time to time. If
Dumbbell
I'm in a
press.
Program. Dumbbells is what I usually go to.
Manipulate-
Dumbbell, anything, anytime
I can
dumbbell
manipulate
movement.
the way it is.
Right.
That's the reason why. And I don't do a lot of. I personally do a lot of things sitting down or machines, and my reasoning for that is because I think you create the type of training I like to do is I want to always translate into what something I can do in real life. Like if you're good at leg curls, you're good at leg curls. That I don't know what you're gonna leg curl in real life.
You don't dance?
Well, yeah,
Kick
but
your ass?
yeah, but but like all the functional movements I do will, I guess, translate to that.
Okay,
And
so
like
what would you do for hamstring work? That
Like-
would kind of simulate a leg curl, but functional.
like a hamstring curl. I don't know if I would ever. I guess if I would do a hamstring curl.
At the same time, like you said, you probably wouldn't have to do anything. What if you're
I
hanging
wouldn't-
upside down from the monkey bars?
Yeah, I was literally like I get real CrossFit on you and like do something. I think what I do like standing leg raises, like where I like standing like hamstring raises with like dumbbells or a kettlebell, or maybe like something where I'm standing, maybe slightly holding a rack and using a rubber band off a little something like that. But I never have. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying the way I see it, you might be able to like create deficiencies in balance or other things that you're lacking by not. Most of my stuff's done standing up. Now don't get me wrong, I still do shoulder presses on the ground, like sitting down. I started doing arms because my dad said I had fat arms, and then he's like, compared to the rest of your body, your arms are fat. Because I didn't think I was like, to me, arms are unnecessary. I do pull ups, I do other things, I do dips, functionally, but I get it.
And I think, I think that people do a lot of bicep curls, but I think people that think that they're going to get their biceps to grow just from doing bicep curls could really benefit from doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't get your legs to grow from doing leg extensions or leg curls. You get it from squats.
Yep,
You get it from
squats.
deadlifts and different things like that, lunging. So that just goes to show you, like you said, maybe more functional fitness is the way to go, and doing standing movements is probably benefiting you more than it isn't.
I'm saying
Yeah.
now if you want to put some icing on the cake, make them things fire up, look nice. Yeah, you need to get sitting down and doing some leg extensions, some curls, and you can really like cap some things off and make it look fire.
Yeah, so I guess it
Yeah.
really goes into what's your goal? What are you trying to get out of
Right.
it? So
Right. That's why I would say in my eyes, I'm always looking at being 50, 60, 70. I want to be rock climbing. I don't want to get. And then I also I look at things as it like, and no offense to nobody, like a bodybuilder. You're just creating this giant worthless machine and I shouldn't say worthless, but like all you're doing now is this machine you have. It looks great, but it needs a lot of food. It needs a lot of oxygen and a lot of blood. Like, let's say you're a 275-pound bodybuilder that's like scary looking jacked. Like and we had to wrestle each other. How long can you wrestle me before you were just like all them muscles mean nothing?
and he's just trying to squeeze you to death. He's
Yeah.
not really throwing any punches or anything.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, just wrestle. Where there's no
just
punches
wrestle,
involved. We're just going to use pure brute
that too.
force. I can if I can tussle with you long enough before you actually can squeeze my head off or something, you're going to gas really fast, and then I can do whatever I want to you at that point.
Yeah. So that's where I like to implement some functional fitness on my end also. Even just sled pulls, sled pushes, different things like that. And I like to stay mobile, and for me it's the longevity aspect also. So that's where I don't go as heavy as I possibly can all the time. I don't remember the last time I even did like a 3-rep max for any movement, just to where I feel good and I stay mobile. And I tell Chris all the time, I said, I like being able to feel like if somebody were to say, hey, let's pick up a game of basketball, I can do that right then and there.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, let's run a sprint, I can do it then and there.
That's like for every athletic category, you want the bars to be as high as it can be, and even in those because if you're too powerful, you're probably going to lack in some speed because you're probably going to be bigger. But have everything as optimal as possible.
Right.
Like you said, go to a powerlifting gym and be powerlifters are gonna be like you can't lift with a powerlifter, but they're gonna go, that's a strong ass dude.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or you go run with a marathon runner and they're gonna look at your size and your legs and go, well, he can't run like a marathon like me, but that guy's got some cardio. Like he can run. And go run with a sprinter and they're like, he's pretty fast. That's a fast guy. Like he's not.
Yeah.
He's not a sprinter, but he doesn't specialize in sprinting. But for looking at him, he's a fast dude.
Yeah.
And that's
Just
one
being
thing.
an athlete.
An all around well, the way I look at it, my mindset, I guess philosophy behind the way I train like I train is if back in the day we were like, I'm a baker, you're a blacksmith, and you made blankets. Well, maybe not so much you because
okay.
the women, but I'm a baker for God's sake. But at the end of the day, you had to go carry water and bags of food and things, and me and you had to go get swords because we're also the army. because we had to be ready for bad things. And women had to train too, like depending on what culture we're talking about, because there was no cops and there was no army. And nowadays we're so soft and so weak. And you see things happen like a shooting. Let's say there's a shooting and you have to run like the one in Vegas and jump over a wall, or you fall down, you have to get up or grab your friend or your wife or whatever, and you got to keep moving, but you're physically not fit enough to do it and you die.
Yeah.
Shit.
And that's what, people say that we live in bad times now, but we honestly live in the safest times that we've ever had. And,
Well,
in
maybe
human
not
existence.
so much as of today, since the nuclear war is about to start, but
Let's see. We'll get into that in a second. But even so, I mean, like you said, we've got beta humans now, where it's like, if they need to, get into action from one second to the next, they just aren't able to, or they injure themselves doing it.
right.
And
Right,
that's
trying
when
to
they
fire
become
off.
the weaker. So it's kind of like, you don't really take that into consideration now because times are so good. We don't have to worry about. Well, I mean, now we have shootings all the time, but we don't have to worry about people hunting us down or having to fight for
A
our
tribe coming in to kill our tribe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's one reason that people don't train, in, I guess, for longevity or the kind of the warrior training style.
Right. And I mean, I get it, but damn, dude, what happens if that happens? Like, you're willing to risk everything on that tiny percentage. Like, if I have kids, I never want to be somewhere that I can't maybe protect my kids. If I have to pick one of them up because they have a broken leg and run them for 20 miles, or if I have to pull a tree off of them, I want to be able to have a chance to do all of that. And I'm not willing to lack on it for whatever. Like, oh, that's, whatever. It's no big deal. That's good. I've heard people in the gym, people I train, why would I ever need to do a burpee? And I went, what if you were getting shot at and you tripped and you fell and you had to get up really fast?
That is the
It's very extreme.
only reason. Yeah.
It's
honestly,
I
but that's the only reason I need. Okay, I'm doing burpees tomorrow.
Yeah.
right,
Definitely.
and that's how I look at it. It's very extreme, but I'm like, that's how I take it, because like the only time you might need that is that extreme, like you turn, fall. God, if you're overweight and you're weak, pushing off the ground, I could look for something to grab and help me.
Yeah.
You get knocked down again, and then pop, you're done.
Right.
Meanwhile, your fit buddy that you told you to do fucking burpees up, jumps over a wall to freedom, and everybody's say he's happy, and you just
That
caught
is
one in
so
the back.
true.
That's how it's super extreme. But even when I go, like the way I go to grocery stores, restaurants with my family, and I always want to have my back in a corner, and I find out I always like, there's an exit. If someone came through there, I would move us here. I don't know why, but I just always think like that.
I think it's a hazard process in your mind. I think the same way.
It's necessary, because like.
Prevention.
And my wife's like, why do you think like that? Because I sometimes she'll ask me like, what are you thinking right now? And I'm like this and this. She's like, why? I'm like, well, because what happens if it did happen and I had no idea where to take you guys and I ran you right into danger? Like, I reacted wrong and I didn't have some sort of like slight plan, even this like in a restaurant situation, to where to move you. Someone comes through this door, well, there's a wall here. Maybe we could get. I mean, I don't know. It's better to have some sort of plan, even though it's like a short, like quick, made up one. At least you have an idea. Like right now, okay, we're talking about Iran just launched some missiles at I don't know if exactly at us or a coalition.
An embassy?
Is that a coalition? I'm not sure. I had it up on here
I think
earlier.
it's a coalition. It houses U.S.
Yeah.
It houses,
So that's essentially probably like fighting words at this point.
I don't believe so, because I think that happens every single day. I just think that it's so amplified now
No.
that people are focusing.
You might be
more on
right.
it.
I believe,
and
yeah.
That's another thing that comes in with the times is we've always had bad times. We've been in war for the past 100 years consistently. People don't
Yeah.
know that. They think, oh, bad president, new war.
Yeah.
They think this is the major wars recently, but we're always at war.
Yeah.
We always have troops overseas. I think that whenever the media gets a hold of it, they're going to try to sway you one way or the other.
Especially right now.
So especially right now, and this is where the hazard prevention mindset. I have that mindset, and then I have Crystal says it's
The
just
conspiracy theory.
not even the conspiracy theorist.
No.
I said okay, just
Question
think about
everything
it.
at least
Yes.
once for a
Be
second.
curious about it, and then at the same
Curious.
time, I'm not going to tell you something that's not a fact. I'm not
Right.
going to tell you something that I've done consistent research on, and also thought for myself, because a lot of people don't do that. They'll read a headline on Facebook and
Yeah,
I'm
clip. Yeah.
following that.
This is
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing that people don't take into consideration is that times are so good now. Evolutionarily speaking, back in the day, you and I are out hunting, and we are hunting for our food. we're looking out for predators. That's our stress.
Yeah, we're now second in the food chain for sure.
100%. So now we live such stress-free lives that we create stress. We are worried
Oh.
about having a gender-neutral restroom over here, or about whether this guy wants to be called a man or a woman, or whatever he wants to be called one day.
Right, or who our president might be.
And that's the biggest one. And what it does is it keeps us apart instead of figuring out something to work together to where we can all kind of benefit into one common goal. And I think it's probably a higher power, higher government just wants to keep us separated because you can control the masses with fear.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
I think so. One of the conspiracy theories that she probably, or that I talked to her the most about, I think, is 9/11, and that's neither here nor there. Whether you think it's
Right.
right or real, or whether it happened or not. One thing that I think will play into whether we go into war with Iran, and whether it becomes a world war, because I don't know if you know, but they recently started testing with
Russia and China. Yeah.
teaming up with them. So
That sucks.
yeah,
Hey,
because-
burpees might come in handy, fuckers.
hey,
Yep.
exactly. So people might want to start doing burpees
Pull,
now.
pull up some burpees right
Tomorrow,
now.
that's going to be in
And
my
that's
program.
another thing. So you want to talk about the stress that we really have. It's like, I guarantee you, if we were to be bombed tomorrow and have kind of like a significant attack like 9/11 was, people would unite. And you wouldn't worry about
Yeah.
whether somebody wants to be called a man or a woman.
Right.
But people don't take that into consideration. They're just worried about, they're fixated on what their issues are, their personal issues are.
Yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah.
Than, what we could solve potentially for
Yeah.
a better outcome. And whenever it comes to this Iran deal, they're seeing everything that the news is telling you. You watch one conservative news station, they're telling you one
Right.
thing, presidency especially. You watch the liberal news station, they're telling you another thing. They might have the same, the same story to tell, but different connotation because of who's side
Yes,
they're on.
I think
Yeah.
Reddit is one of the best ways to go about getting your news because you can get live feeds from somebody there, from their phone.
Yeah, like
Right.
that guy Hesger that used to work with us.
yeah.
Okay, so he was in then what? And then he was in the Marine.
Marine Corps.
Remember he was telling you about it? How there was like all over the media how Trump wasn't sending anyone to the hurricane. What hurricane was it?
I don't remember what hurricane it was, but he was
He
was
was
a troop.
literally there.
He was with his Marine troop there,
Yes.
looking at the news and kind of just scoffing.
And they
at
were
it.
at the
Like,
on
what,
the
we're
news.
here?
Yes,
They're at the
yes.
news on
Really?
the news. Literally, they were there watching it, and it was on the news saying that Trump wasn't sending troops over there,
That's crazy.
and the troops were literally there, and he was there personally.
That's crazy.
Like,
Could you imagine?
just like you know what I mean? It's like media is just like fear mongering.
I'm just afraid that I wonder if our country's not so physically weak and divided that we would unite, but compared to people like the Chinese and the Russians, those are hard ass people. I don't care what nobody says. There's some badass people in the United States for sure, but go to Dagestan, like per capita badass hard people, dude,
less GMOs.
Yeah.
and just
GMOs making us
rough
soft.
life, like.
It's almost like you can't see a soul whenever you look into their eyes.
Yeah, I mean, jeez, man, and they're just so hard. Like
Well, whenever you think about the Nazis, they were just doing their job. They're doing whatever they're told. But if you were to tell an American soldier, if their commander says to kill somebody, they're going to think twice. about
yeah,
it. They're
like go
probably
shoot
gonna
those babies.
eventually-
They're gonna go,
Right,
whoa, we're not
right.
shooting babies.
Exactly.
We
So
don't have that in us
it's
like
a different
that.
type of human. You're right. We don't have it in us, and I think it's just from basically we've been spoiled our whole lives.
Yeah, we're this. America's. I hope that we're not getting to the point where we were at one point we were united and powerful, and we helped and we did the best we could, and then along with every other country, we all got caught in the rat race of being the world power, getting more money, being more powerful. That we've kind of shit on some people along the way, and I hope it doesn't come to bite us in the ass in the long run.
So I think
Because Russia and China are scary.
Yeah.
And I'll put it like this, though. I don't give a shit. Like, whatever happens. They drop a nuke. You're not going to stop nothing. There's no reason to sit there and argue and say, I'm not fighting the war. If the war comes to your front door, you better start doing something.
definitely, but I think if it's nukes, then I don't think we really don't
No,
have to worry about it. We see it in the air coming. All right, goodbye.
Yeah, just do like I hope I'm as close to it as possible. Because I don't want the nukes to
suffer.
drop and then like to make it and be the ones that have to die like the
The
weeks
radiation.
after. Yeah, I just want it to be like pop.
Yeah. Do you remember whenever there was that false nuke in Hawaii? Like somebody had pressed like a button and it sent out a massive text in Hawaii that said there was a nuke on its way. You gotta look that up sometime. But
What?
for sure, yeah. it happened,
Everybody's
I think it was
shitting
a couple
Remember,
years
we were
ago.
talking about this the other day.
Yeah, so there was a guy that talked about he was with one of his sons, and then his other son was like 2 hours away, and I think one of his sons was bedridden, and that son told him to go see the other son, so he just took off, and it was just
Thinking
people
the
that
nuke
were
was on
just-
the way.
It was
Yeah.
definitely people were like, okay, this is
Freaking
done,
out,
like our
yeah.
lives are about to be over. Let's just I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like, we
Oh, I'm eating every zinger and bag of chip. I'm just sitting there and be like, fuck it, dude.
think about
There's gonna be a lot of pregnancies 9 months later too.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna go all for it.
Dude, that would be terrible.
Kind of like 1999.
That's true. It's like,
People
just
thought the
do
world
it.
was
Just
ending.
go.
Yeah.
Oh. And then you're like,
Oh man.
where's this fucking nuke at?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Mistake.
I might just nuke
Oh.
myself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
False alarm, bitch.
I'm sorry, Plan B that thing, man. Like, you got a day after the next day that nuke didn't show up, you better be finding some Plan B, which I don't even know what that does.
It's a spermicide.
I wonder what it does. It can't be good
So
for you.
Plan B convinces your body that birth control convinces your body that you're pregnant. Plan B, I believe. I
It's
don't
a
know if
spermicide, so it just kills the sperm, right?
It's just,
yeah,
I bet it kills a lot of other things than just sperm, though.
definitely, and
But
that's
it
another
fries
thing
some
people
shit.
don't. Yeah, people don't realize. They're
Yeah.
taking a medication for their back pain, but it's not just going for your back.
Yeah,
No.
it's obviously
It's
doing
taxing
something else.
your
Yeah.
entire body.
Yeah, I'm against like meds. Like
Oh,
that.
definitely.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
For sure.
The only thing I believe Western medicine is good for is acute situations,
Yeah.
broken arm,
Yeah.
emergency surgery, different things like that. But I think when people rely, and there's people that rely on medications that think they need them to survive.
Yes.
My mother-in-law, but she has some autoimmune diseases, lupus, and
Oh yeah.
but I also think diet, man. Like I wish I always
Food
tell her
first.
I wish her I tell her try carnivore. You see so many autoimmune diseases being like almost not essentially cured, but I mean very very big turnarounds. Like
Yes.
why not go for it for a month?
Well, and the thing is, the medical doctors that they're seeing and who they put all their trust into
Big pharma.
don't have they're backed by
Yeah,
big
they have no
pharma, one,
nutrition
they have no
education.
nutrition experience.
Yeah.
So
You know more
your-
than they do.
Exactly. So it's not going to be their recommendation. Okay, eat low carb, don't eat this, don't eat that. But they're not telling you why you shouldn't eat certain things and why eating different things might benefit you.
Well, yeah, I've had so many old people. Well, they tell me you shouldn't be eating that salt and all that fat. I'm like, hey, lady, stop.
Right.
We stopped eating the salt and the fat, and our cholesterol got better. I'm like, your cholesterol changed from like minute to minute. Eat something, it changes.
Yeah.
They don't understand, and that's another misconception. People don't understand blood cholesterol and ingested cholesterol are completely different. They don't
Yes.
attribute one to the next. You can eggs are loaded with cholesterol. Chicken's loaded with cholesterol. It's not going to raise your cholesterol.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good
What
cholesterol.
increases your blood cholesterol is that high fat and high carb combination
Yep.
that we get from fast food, and that's
Yep.
why America's
What
obese.
is is it the polysaturated or
Polyunsaturated.
Polyunsaturated, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturated fat's good for you. It's good
Yeah.
for you. We're made of it. Made of it. And that's why, like, I guess getting back talking to, like, the fasting and the keto and all that shit, like, fasting for also, but getting back to testosterone, is proven to raise testosterone levels.
Yeah.
And I notice when I do fast, like, without, like, only drinking coffee and water until I eat, not having any like 5-hour energy, I don't care what it says BCAAs, that shit will knock you out of. Now fat burning, it'll still get benefits of that, but it'll like the testosterone, the HGH levels, the boosted HGH levels and awareness, you might
You're
not feel it.
fasting anymore.
No, not on that level. But I noticed that when I fast legitly like that, I can see a massive difference in the way I perform and the way I look.
Yeah.
Massive.
I did it for-
cognitively or
Yes.
physically. Okay.
Yes, and physically too. I mean, because my brain's working better. But what I did notice after years of fasting, my friend, I worked with him for a while. He was like, I have to have breakfast every once in a while. So we like every few days, I'd go eat breakfast, eat pancake, the whole nine,
Right.
and I was getting leaner. But then I started thinking, well, this makes sense. Your fires and your metabolism furnace is probably barely an ember burning at this point, and then all of a sudden you're like.
Ramping it up. Yeah.
So like nowadays, like every 2 or 3 days, I'll eat breakfast. I love breakfast. I eat for dinner a lot, but sometimes in the mornings I'm like, you know what, today's a good day. Like especially gonna be a hard output day. I'm gonna eat breakfast today. It's good. And I eat a lot of fat. It's mostly and sometimes I eat pancakes with it.
Nice. Yeah, Crystal has gone on kind of long-term fasts, 2 or 3
Right.
days at a time.
Those
It
are
was
good.
like 2.
Every quarter I do
it
one.
was 2 days.
48 at least.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to it, but
Yeah.
I need
You can get through it. Like you get to a breakthrough the drinking. Well, and like before anybody should, I would suggest, because I'm kind of a psychopath. I was like, I'm fasting. I just cut everything out, carbs, everything. It sucked. Like I had I guess the keto flu, whatever. I chug a lot of water. I think it's a great way to curb the hunger pains. Just chug it. But if I was gonna, like, if I tell any of my customers or anything to do it, hey, slowly cut back the sugars, slowly cut back the carbs. Go for a 12-hour fast instead of a 16. And the more you cut back those sugars and carbs, the more your body's gonna start relying on the fats as energy. So you slowly, like, it's not going to be so drastic on you. It's like weaning off, I guess, cigarettes, probably the same way. Like, once your body goes, all right, this dude isn't giving us the carbs and sugars anymore, but we got all this fat laying around. I'm just going to start eating it. So for these 16 hours, man, I'm not hungry. Like, and I would notice that the time I could tell that I think it was like, I was like, I am now a fat burner. I went from waking up in the morning like, oh my God, I want to die. I'm so hungry. I want to throw up almost. You're so hungry. Ever had that feeling? Till like, I'm not hungry.
Yeah. So
And I'm not ever hungry.
yeah, for me, after the hardest part, I think it was like a 36-hour fast because I remember I was shooting for 3 days. And
There's a soup you can make too.
No, it was more than 36 hours.
It was
It had
more.
to-
I think
it
it
was
was
like-
at least 2
it
full
was-
days.
Yeah, it was more than 36 hours. But the first 24 hours, that's what was really, really hard. And I was just chugging a lot of water. But afterwards, I think I was doing it more for a detox. And
It really heals the
completely
body. Yeah, it resets a lot of things.
No, I was reset. Like my palate, I wanted to eat like good food. Like I didn't want to eat bad food. And in the gym, especially, like my performance, like I felt stronger. I felt better.
Yeah.
Once I came off the fast, but the first 24 hours, that's when I was like the worst. And then after on the second day, I was completely like
it's like a
not
switch
even
turns
hungry,
on. Yeah.
like anymore. It was just more of a feeling like okay, well I'm like acknowledging the feeling, but I didn't want like food.
I bet you felt more focused.
Yeah, no, and I was focused, and like I remember, like, what was I saying? See, I lost my train of thought. But I did feel like so much better after the 24 hours, like really fast.
Evolutionary, like you're saying, we're hunting. We haven't eaten for 2 or 3 days. Your body's gonna be like, all right, dude, we're using what energy we have to focus to find some food. And I think, that's essentially what's happening to you, especially once you get your way from the carbs, your body is running off of fats. Like, I can do a lot of one meal a day. It's like, I eat a big meal. I might eat 2 or 3 steaks and some eggs. It's a big meal. But sometimes that was like, I didn't need to eat until the end of the day. And I felt like more of, I need to get this food in to refuel to keep me feeling the same way tomorrow. Enough saturated fat to keep me going from there. I can go like, a lot of times I go 18 hours, 20 hours, and I feel fine. And I can lift weights. I can grow.
Have you ever run into an issue with one of your clients where they want to start intermittent fasting, but whenever you get more information from them, it's like, oh, well, I've never eaten breakfast and I never really eat a lunch? Because that's whenever it doesn't necessarily, they don't reap the benefits from it because that's just how they've adapted their entire lifestyle.
And now I have a guy, and the problem was he had some success losing weight doing lean cuisines.
What?
Right. Well, you go from eating a bunch of shit to then lean cuisines, you're gonna lose weight.
Yeah, just in being at a deficit.
Yeah, and he was like, "Well, I'll eat like one at lunch and one." Essentially, he fasted, and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I get it now." I said, "But you've put your body at such a deficit for so long that it's gonna cling to everything you eat." I was like, "In those times you go to you get Wendy's? It's all fat. It's like you're not burning anything." I'm like, anything. So I got him on real foods, more calories. And now he's starting to burn fat. He's looking better. He's lost some weight, lost quite a few pounds. And he was like, I don't get this. I was like, yeah, dude, you need nutrients. You can eat 3 pounds of French fries. You can only eat maybe 10 to 16 ounces of steak before you're like, I am full because it's nutrient dense. Your body's like, I'm good. I got everything I need. There's no empty calories. Like French fries, it's like, okay, storing it as fat. I still need some nutrients. I'm still hungry.
You can overeat it really.
Yeah.
easily.
Steak, it's hard to overeat steak. It's hard.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the hardest things to convince somebody whenever they want to have a lifestyle change with their diet is, what do you mean that I'll be able to eat more and still lose fat? Or what do you mean if I lift heavy compound movements, I'm not going to gain a lot of muscle? That conversation is probably the toughest one to have as far as convincing somebody because of the stigma that woman working out carries.
Right.
And, trying to get them to buy into it. But once it just flips a switch in them whenever they do see it
Right.
for them. They're
Like,
sold forever.
I've seen a girl ask me, this is a powerlifter girl I follow on Instagram. She's like super jacked. I want to be like her, but I don't get it. I do all this cardio and I don't look as ripped as she is. I'm like, first off, her diet's on point, and she's doing heavy ass squats, heavy ass deadlifts. And I'm like, so she's putting out the same energy you're putting out on your
Hour of cardio.
yeah, whatever cardio you're doing, 30 minutes or so. I was like, but she's also like the way her heart rate's doing, it's not sustained long. Like she's building muscle in that process. And then when she leaves the gym, she's still burning lots of fat. I was like, she don't get it. I'm like, just because her workout is like 3 to 5 reps, the amount of energy it takes for her to push that weight is this. Try to break it down. I guess simple is a same amount of energy or calories you're burning in your 30-minute or hour window, except you're going to be skinny fat and she's going to be jacked,
Right.
because you're not lifting weights. Like you're gonna lose pounds, but you're gonna be soft. You're gonna look soft. If you're not lifting weights, you're not gonna have any muscle tone. And lifting weights burns more fat than walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes.
Right. Increases your metabolism. And that's another thing. A lot of the times I'll get people that are just cardio bunnies or do more cardio or even equal parts cardio working out. And they either haven't seen results, they stop seeing results. So the first thing I'll do is I'll cut the cardio out. And they'll ask why. It's whenever you're doing high amounts of cardiovascular training, your body becomes efficient with what you're eating because your metabolism isn't raising. But your metabolism doesn't adapt to resistance training. It increases, so it wants more, and it's going to burn more. And getting them to understand that is definitely probably the biggest key to sell them on for them to buy in. But convincing them is the tough part. You know,
it takes time too.
I'll start just give me a week, see how it works for you. And after that week, it might not be where I want it to be for them. They might see a little bit difference, maybe not. Okay, just one more week and do one more week. So one week at a time is how I break it down instead of telling them to give me 2 months to do it.
Right.
Because eventually their body's going to, turn over to where it does start building the metabolism and realizing that they're not, doing cardio as much and having to be efficient with the calories that they're intaking and storing it rather than burning it.
It's essentially going, what's all this weight? What's going on? Whoa. I need more food. I need something.
Yeah.
I got to have some fuel because this isn't working. We were walking for an hour last week. What's the deal? And then the person goes, I'm hungry. And then you're eating. Then the trick is to get them to eat healthy foods.
Yes.
That's
it's
the problem.
one thing at a time. Yeah, you can't throw the whole kitchen sink at them.
I think the good thing is, like, people are like, I want to lose some weight. What should I do? What should I eat? And I go, I think what I'm going to start, well, I know I've been telling people, I think I'm telling everybody, don't change shit. Get a little notebook and write down, or on your phone, and write down everything you eat at the end of the day. Or get MyFitnessPal, and it'll track the calories. And then look at it. So before you know it, you'll start exiting shit out of your diet by yourself. Because you'll start feeling bad for writing down Twinkie, Kit Kat bar, bag of chips. Because that shit hurts your feelings. Like, dude, I didn't know. Everybody seems to remember the salad and the chicken they ate in the day. I do eat healthy. I eat healthy. It's like, yesterday I had like eggs in the morning, some bacon. Then at lunch I had chicken and rice and some broccoli. Well, between there you had the bag of chips. You had some donuts in the office. You had half a burrito. You had 3 sodas.
Oh my
You
God,
forgot about that shit?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way that Zach works too.
And that's one thing, especially with the New Year's resolutions. If you have somebody that, hasn't been to the gym, has a poor diet, they say, okay, I want to change my life. I want to get into the gym. I want to eat right. Say, no, choose one, stick with it, be consistent with that. If you haven't been to the gym, don't commit to 5 days a week. Commit to 1 day. Tell yourself, I'm going to make it 1 day. Because anything progressive from there, you're going to keep yielding results and keep getting better and better, rather than throwing the whole kitchen sink at it. And, I'm doing good in my workouts, my diet is poor. And whenever you're stressing out about that, you're more likely to become discouraged rather than committing to one thing and leaving the other things that are tentative, eliminating those, and sticking with what you can get and slowly progressing from there. So I think that's just the easiest
It's momentum.
way to communicate.
Like a wave starts out this small, it's like flat, and then you can have a tsunami, but it takes a minute to get there.
Right.
And I always say my 2 favorite words: sustainable and optimal. You can't live like, who's going to be able to do chicken and rice their whole life with broccoli every single meal, water only? Like, you got to have days with Halo ice cream. You got to find food you like to eat. You got, like, your family comes in town, you never seen, eat what you want. It's Christmas, eat what you want. You're on vacation, eat what you want. Yeah, and realize that, of course, you're gonna not have the gains you're thinking, but it also sucks when you go, I'm gonna sit down with everybody and they're all eating food. And unless you're just that hardcore, I'm not going to stop you. But if you're like, I just want to enjoy my time, and if that's more important to you than gaining a few pounds from it, then go for it. If you do eat shitty food, you get off track, enjoy it. Don't beat yourself up for it. Enjoy it. Get back on track. That's 80-20%, like the 80-20 rule, something like that. Like you shouldn't feel bad for being pleasurable, but being that way, I think it makes you more like cognitive of what you're eating. Like, yeah, I just ate that shit, but I kind of feel bad. I enjoyed it fine. I got to get back on track. It's just easier than going, I'm just done. I'm done, because you're like, as you're eating your steak and rice or whatever your healthy food, you're thinking about cookies and cake 24/7. Like, I'm missing out. Instead of just going, oh, you know what? I've been pretty good all week long. It's Wednesday. Dude, I'm thinking I'm going to have some ice cream real quick. Just one, it ain't going to hurt that bad.
And at that, the more consistent you are with eating healthier options, you realize how other foods do make you feel.
Yes.
Them.
That's it. Like I say, you'll still want the cake, but you'll walk by and go, man, I don't know if I want to feel that. Your gut biome gets used to what you're eating. I mean, I'm sure like you feed it good foods, it wants good foods. Your brain always goes, it looks good, but it's kind of like the way I feel about alcohol now. Like, yeah, it looks fun. I'm not willing to pay for it like that, though. No, I'm good. I've been doing too good. I feel too good. I don't think people, they're like, I feel good. I'm like, you think you feel good. Like, dude, you're 40 pounds overweight. Your cardio's terrible. You have very little muscle. You don't feel good. You think you feel good. That's how you make your optimal day is probably a lot of people's worst day. So, and when people start eating a little better, mostly food, especially, they're like, dude, I feel good. Like, I had a client start drinking a gallon of water a day. A few clients, they're like, dude, I feel like the next day, they're like, I feel way better.
So much better.
I'm like, from one day, right? Isn't that
things.
crazy?
Yeah.
It's just some water.
I'm going to go take a piss.
I'll go for it. You go for it.
And it's like you didn't even add anything. You didn't take away anything. You added
water.
something. Yeah.
Which usually keeps you satiated, so you feel fuller. But people think it's got to be some like drastic changes I guess to get fast changes. You want to drop 20 pounds in a month? Yeah, you can probably do that.
But you'll gain it back.
It's coming right back, and you're not going to look as optimal as you could. You're going to look kind of skinny fat. You're not going to have the muscle to back up the weight loss. And a lot of it's water.
Frail. And a lot of people, like, if I was to lose like 20 pounds, like,
yeah,
you're going to lose frail. I'm going to be frail.
Yeah, and then more apt to injury and things like that. People don't realize that to get to the optimal body weight, to have some real muscle behind the fat loss, so when they lose the fat, they have something behind to show off. And it takes time. And it's something that shouldn't, it's not going to be, unless you're a psychopath and go, I'm just cutting sugars.
Yeah.
I'm going to go low carb, or I'm going to eat only good carbs, and I'm getting my protein, like he's saying, counting macros and going full in. That's very hard, and like you can't sustain it for long. Most people are like, fuck this, I'm not doing it no more.
Like I tell my clients that too. Like, I don't want them to just burn themselves out. Just like, let's go ham in the gym.
Yeah.
Let's cut soda. Let's cut all your sugar. Let's cut everything. Like, they're going to burn out in 3-4 weeks.
If
and
that.
they're gonna want to give up
If
at that point. Like, you can't sustain that for long. You're gonna want to give up, and that's why it's easier, I think, just to like start adding small things, start taking away little things, but not just going ham with everything.
But when they do, like you're saying, like the people that lose the fast weight, like I lost 25 pounds in a month or 30 pounds in a month, you might feel good for a little bit, but the worst feeling is when that month's over, and like when you peaked essentially, 2 months later when you get fat again, you're like, dude, and it's usually worse. You're like, I gained 10 pounds than what I was before I lost the weight. And you're like, what am I doing? And then you get super depressed about working out and eating, and you're like, fuck everything. I'm just going to be fat. Like, that's a hard thing to get over. That's why little things like writing your food down, just don't change shit. Or maybe just cut out Cokes. I had a guy one time, years ago, I said, he was like, he drank a lot of, dude. Like, he wouldn't buy 20-ounce sodas. He'd buy 2-liter sodas. I'm not kidding. A 12-pack and a 2-liter a day at work when I'd see him would be like legit. He lost like 45 pounds just cutting sodas. Nothing else changed in his life, just cutting sodas.
And that's, I think, the lack of awareness from what you're consuming is really what gets people out of control and becoming obese.
Yeah.
Because your body has a place where it's going to be happy. And if you're there, you're either in a surplus or you're in a deficit.
Yep.
So if you're 400 pounds, you're not going to stay at 400 pounds from one day to the next. You're either going up or you're going down because you're having to force feed yourself. So that's one thing, like you said, I think the simplest thing for people to do is to write down what they're eating, look at it, and they're gonna realize, okay, maybe that's not doing
Oh,
so well for
Jesus.
me.
Yeah.
Especially if you find out what your BMR is,
Oh
Oh,
man.
yeah.
and you go, like,
That'll
people
scare
think the
some
BMR, I bet it's about 2,500. They're like, 15.
Yeah.
What? I've only been 1,500 just being a human. Yeah, you don't do shit either. That's like 15. And how many do you eat? Like, you eat 1,500 before lunch, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, most of the time, people's
Exactly.
breakfast is 1,500 calories. And they do that 3 to 4 times in a day. They're eating like Michael Phelps calories, have no idea.
Right.
None.
Like, there'll be people like, oh, it's crazy that Michael Phelps guys eats 8,000, 12,000. I said, I bet you do. Get close. I bet there's some days you can get close to that on a more often than not. You'd be surprised. Like, people, especially out to eaters, like, dude.
Yeah. It's just lack of awareness, really.
Well, I don't. Yeah. Well, and I don't think people understand what 1,500 calories looks like on like a healthy plate of food compared to like fast food. It's like you can put 1,500 calories in a small bag. 1,500 good calories is a lot of damn
Like, a
food.
lot
A lot of damn food.
I struggle to get all my food in.
Yeah. How many do you try to eat in a day?
See, so I try to at least like 1,800 to 2,000. I
Girls will probably trip out to hear that. You're
never-
tiny.
Yeah, I never hit it, but like ask Zach, like I try to eat as much as I can, but
Right.
I get so full.
Right.
Like, if I'm eating good food, that's hard to hit. That's very hard to hit.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to be eating like 4 times a day just because, I mean, in one sitting, I have to really eat a lot if I was to break it down like three meals.
Yeah.
But no, it's really hard to get that, and like I think people think that I eat a lot. Like let's say like my family is not into nutrition. We're like a big hardcore Mexican family. Like we're buffet style.
Right.
Like
Good. Yeah.
yeah,
Grease. Good food.
and they like trip out when they see me eat good food, but I'm eating a lot of it, and they're like,
Like, not me. How you
she
eat a lot of
eats
food?
so much, right? They're like, why do you
That's
eat
another
so much?
conversation that's
Like-
that's new to me, fairly new, because my family, our get-togethers aren't as big as theirs, and they only see me on the holidays. And on the holidays, I'm going.
We go
ham.
ham.
I'm eating about
So-
5,000 calories in one sitting. So they'll look at me and they say, "So we can eat like that and look like it."
And
now I'm
like,
oh,
no.
so that's
See-
whenever I have to be more aware of
Yeah.
the information that I'm trying to relay,
Yeah.
and also what I'm doing in front of them.
I've had friends tell me like, bro, I see you eat cake and shit like back-to-back days. 'Cause I tell them like consistently eating shitty. I'm like,
Yeah.
hold up.
Back-to-back days.
Well, I'm like, hold up. First off, and I'll be like 7-8% body fat at the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm at 7% body fat, dog. I don't eat like this ever. You eat
Yeah.
like this every day. So I ate half a cake one day and had the other half. I'm like, fuck, I ate the other half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, nothing changed for you. I'm like, yeah, but that's a very rare thing. I was like, because I'm such a lean like body percentage. My body composition's to a point where I'm like, I'm good, and I know
Yeah.
that I can even have a week of shit food and go right back to looking fine, and maybe not have any problems like at all, like the way I physically look, and then just get back on it and nothing changes. But some people that are already not even in shape at all, haven't worked out. If I eat shit for a week, bro, I gained 12 pounds. I'm like, yeah, dude, your metabolism's jacked.
Yeah.
Like my body's not enjoying the week of shit food. It's not being optimal in any way, but my motor runs hot enough that I can like deal with it. And I'm already like, I don't have enough body fat on me anyways at those times.
Yeah.
When my friends trip out, I'm like, so you can't do that. But I've been working out since I was 12 years old also.
And I think, doing it for so long, you learn how your body's going to react to certain things
Right.
under different conditions. So I will allow myself to, especially now or up until New Year's, I was at least, one cheat-ish meal a day because I could implement it into my macronutrients accurately and still feel good about it and not be bloated the next day.
Yep.
But because I've done it for so long. So that was another thing that I was going to mention earlier is whenever I do believe, going back to eating the same foods over and over, I think whenever you're learning how to track initially, you should be eating the same foods
Yes.
and getting exact measurements because there's no such thing as eyeballing. If you eyeball and then actually measure out, you're probably in a huge surplus whenever you think that you're actually in a maintenance or a deficit.
Yep.
And that's one thing that I think is really important to getting people to understand that proper tracking does. It's tough. It's tough. But
It's a
whenever you do
bitch.
it is.
Yeah.
And whenever you do it for long enough time, you can start to eyeball. And then
Yeah.
at the same time, if you're consistent with it, you might be going over a little bit every single day, but you're still getting the benefit of it because you're consistent with it.
And once you do that long enough, like I'm sure you can do this, you're like, I'm about to be at the river in 3 weeks. I'm gonna I'm gonna back off this a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the week of the river, like 3 days out, I'm gonna really back off of this. And then when I get to the river, I'm gonna eat what the fuck I want. I'm gonna look jacked the whole
Yes.
time.
Right.
No, literally
The whole
Zach.
time.
That's
Yeah.
Zach.
So, kind of as a benchmark, I did the Tall City Triathlon in August, and I gave myself a month to prepare. And that was diet strict all the way across the board. It was swimming, biking, and running almost every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm claustrophobic and I'm scared of water.
Yeah, I don't like water.
I hate water. And maintained, lost body fat, maintained my weight. I ran in what's called the Clydesdale class, which is anybody above 220.
Okay, cool.
And did really,
Freaking
really
killed
well.
it. He killed it.
Considerably. I got second in that, and just watching everything, but across the board to a T, dialed in. And like you said, I know when to turn it on and when I can taper off. But at the same time, I was able to. I think I started whenever I was training. I was probably about 230, but I was burning. This is without my BMR. I was burning from exercise 2,500 calories a day, just from morning, afternoon, evenings, and
You whatever you want, almost.
so that's what I told myself I can get away with that, but I didn't let myself because I know that there's some situations like with what I'm doing now with F45. If I'm coaching classes in the morning or taking F45 and then working out in the gym, I can eat whatever I want, really.
Yeah, you get a lot of work.
So I think it's just a psychological warfare. What I
And
deal with.
you say you can eat whatever you want, but I still think you're better off eating more optimal, like good foods, because your body's just gonna recover better eating good foods. But especially like you're talking about you're trying to get more weight.
Yeah.
When I was doing powerlifting, I was trying to keep myself heavier, and I was like 235, but I wasn't eating enough food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eating a lot of healthy foods. So like to keep myself above 235, at the end of every day, I would just go eat a bag of mini donuts, and I always look for 235. I look pretty damn good, and for a powerlifter, I was looking pretty lean. I was like, I'm eating a bag of donuts every day. And the guy's like, yeah, dude, but you're putting in some work.
Yeah.
Like he goes, you're putting in some work. He's like, and you're also like barely, because I ate a lot of healthy foods. He's like, you're barely probably hitting. And honestly, I think I was in a deficit when I don't measure my food,
Yeah, that's
because
what
I think I'm in my brain already that don't want to be fluffy. Like I don't like being a fluffy dude. So I think I was giving myself that, and that's what I was like when I started tracking a little bit. I was like, oh my god, I'm not eating near enough food.
Right.
Protein is super low. So I never understood like how I could actually build some muscle. But I know that if I was doing like you, I would have been super jacked and super healthy and felt super optimal.
Right. And I did.
Yeah.
And
He
after
was-
that, I think. Go ahead.
You can go.
My body went into shock because I was after that I made it
Back to
a point. I wanted to eat shitty. I wanted to take
You
it. up
earned it.
from- Well, I ended up at a 3,200 calories. That was as low as I got. And the day of the triathlon, and then for the next 4 weeks, I was at least 5,000 calories, if not more. But
Yeah.
I started.
But he started losing weight.
drastically. I lost 10
Yes.
pounds in 2 weeks.
Why?
I have no idea. I
I
think I
really
went
think-
into metabolic shock.
Yeah.
And it's just been a struggle to not necessarily put it on and keep it on since then. Now I know it's because I neglect my macros and I neglect, getting to where I need to be for maintenance.
Yeah.
That's
And those F45 workouts are no bullshit. Like that's
and
all
I do
fat
is-
burning.
And all I do is I coach that, so not even the
He's not even
the
doing the
workouts
workout.
itself. So,
Right.
But I still get a good sweat, and I'm still moving around, and I still get
Right.
an adequate amount of steps in. So one thing that a big tool for me is counting my steps every single day. And
I never got into that.
Same.
And it's just for me, it's just a psychological tool that I need to use.
But you probably know if I get this many steps, I usually look like this. I usually feel like this.
100%. And it's crazy how to a T that is. If I'm getting under 5,000 calories a day, I'm gonna feel like shit the next day. But if I'm getting 8,000 plus, I'm gonna wake up a leaner.
Yep.
Somehow. And whenever people
Because your
think,
motor's it's fired up.
it's fired up, and that eliminates that kind of defeats the argument of you need a high intensity type of cardio to keep
Yes.
burning and to keep the fat off. But also, whenever you're doing a low intensity steady state or just a steady walk, you're retaining more muscle mass also.
Right.
So I think, but at the same time, you're not optimal because your cardiovascular isn't necessarily
Right.
to where it needs to be.
Like and like hypertrophy, like just building muscle. That's almost still like there's no science really to that. I mean, there's some bros like actual studies of how it works. They still really don't understand. We all have rep ranges. We get an idea, but they know how to get stronger, They know how to lose weight. We know how to get better endurance, but to build muscle, it's like for everybody, it can be oddly different.
This
Yeah, and
depends.
I think the generic, like you said, 8 to 12 range,
It's a
3 to
good
4 sets
number.
of 8 to 12. It's a good number, but I think, and this isn't a science or anything like that. It's whatever you're not doing. So if you're consistently doing weeks at a time of 8 to 12, maybe try some powerlifting or some strength movement, some 1 to 5 range.
Change that body,
and
yeah.
you'll still continue to build muscle because your body's not adapted to that style, or even changing the movements.
Right.
And or even like if I were to start doing kettlebell only movements, I guarantee I'd put on a bunch of muscle.
Oh, yeah.
But you have a cap to where your body is going to allow it until it plateaus.
Yes.
And then you have to change it up. So
I do a lot of almost. I don't know. I do a lot of kettlebell stuff. I'll have like a routine 3 times a week. I'll do this certain kettlebell workouts, like not the same ones, but those workouts. But my exercise, like they always look quite a bit different. Each day, like I do rock climbing things one day, I do some sprints, or I'll do jogging, or I'll have like a few different workouts in a day. Like the other day, I worked out 5 times. Each time was like 30 minutes. I had a lot of time. I was like, I want to do a little bit of everything. I'm with you on that. Like you can cap out. Well, your body just goes, hey, dude, I know what we're doing.
right.
Gigs up.
And back to that 5 times 30 minutes a day. It's not like you're doing the same exact routine all 30 minutes.
Right.
So your body's not going to adapt to it, and it's not going to be overtrained because it's not the same thing.
Yeah,
over and
exactly.
over.
Every workout was completely different.
Right.
So it was like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
ready for what I always say that. I said, because like everybody's, I'm ready for whatever. I try to tend to mean that shit. Like, whatever you gotta do, let's go run. Okay, let's go run.
Yeah.
Let's go lift some weights. Let's go, whatever you want to do. I got that. That's the reason I like the functional. Like, so the style you like is more, I guess, a functional bodybuilding type style.
Power building, maybe.
Power building.
Yeah, because I don't like to hold myself to a bodybuilding standard because I don't believe in splits. 2 muscle groups a day splits. I do
Right.
total body every single day.
Okay.
Compound movements all the time.
So Marcus Philly, ever follow him on Instagram? He's like a
No.
blonde head. He calls it functional bodybuilding, but it's kind of what you're talking about.
Okay.
There's nothing he does. It's like it's full body stuff. But it's hard to explain. But I guess it's like some sort of like UBC shoulder presses. You'll see bodybuilding style movements in there, but he's like on his feet or he's on a Bosu bar using a bench in some sort of way where he's like, it's a
There's
total body.
Minimal isolation.
Yeah, it's the best way. It's
Yeah. I started training like that when I met Zach.
and
Completely
everything grew.
different.
Everything got better.
But that's one thing that's people are set in their old ways, and and whatever works for them,
Right.
or whatever's for getting people active. But I think I think that's just very antiquated, and learning that you can do total body every single day as long as you're manipulating different factors of your workout.
Yeah.
You can be consistent with it, 4 weeks at a time, and then change it up. Still do total body every day.
Yeah.
And I think
But it's
that's
more
just
shoulder
something-
intensive, or it's more lower body intensive one
Exactly.
day, more
Focusing.
back. I even break it up to like push pull,
Push, pull.
like back, because you don't want to just go upper body
Right.
because it doesn't make any sense. You gotta kind of like push, exactly. It's isolated in a full body like spectrum. I guess you're
More focused.
That's a better word.
focus, yeah.
Much better word.
And so I have one day that I'll focus, and right now I'm kind of going against what I'm saying, but I'm still doing total body. But there's 3 days a week where I'm focusing more on bench, squat, and deadlift.
Right,
So it's
for strength.
for strength, yes. But I've never trained like that, so it's something new that I'm trying out because I do want to increase the weight there. Not that
You're
I
gonna
want to
get
try for everyone,
jacked.
and because I'm changing the stimulus.
You're gonna get
So- And I do
jacked.
feel a lot
He's
better.
already
so-
Powerlifters are
making
jacked,
changes.
bro.
And one thing that I'm holding myself accountable for this year is, at least maintaining my macronutrients, and then holding myself accountable for hitting them every single day if I set them to a certain number, or increasing over time rather than being lenient every single day and just whatever. If I don't eat it, I don't eat it. 'Cause
Right.
then psychologically in the gym, I feel shrunk up. I
Yeah.
feel smaller. My workouts aren't as good. My mental capacity is, so compressed, and I just can't focus on anything really. So that's one thing that I think plays a big part in my all day long. It stems from starting off early in the morning. I'll get up, and sometimes I do HIIT, and then I'll meditate, and that starts the day off 100%. And then from there, it is momentum, like you said.
Yeah.
Little things.
I believe that if you start your morning like just getting up, grabbing your phone, brush your teeth, and just get kind of going. It's hard to fire up midday, end day, especially like you got to do something in the morning. Like it can be 10 minutes long, but like even if you just stand there and just fucking stretch and just you just move around, like you got to let the blood start moving immediately.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of, first thing when I wake up looking at my phone, or even middle of the night looking at my phone, but that blue light just does something to
Yep.
you, and it just turns
It changes
on and
you from
just
that
wake
moment,
up.
like 2 a.m. You look at your blue light, you'll never sleep
Yeah.
the rest of the night. And like that stupid email we get,
At 2 a.m., right?
yeah, it makes no sense at all.
I
Like,
don't know why we get it at that time.
yeah, it makes like why can't we get it at like 10 tonight or something?
It
Yeah.
would make more sense, more time to prepare.
Right.
Yeah.
But we invested in some blue blocking glasses that actually work
Yep.
like a charm. I kind of stay away from them now because I'm better at not looking at my phone in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I put off looking at it in the morning. But I get nightmares 100% of the time. Nightmares anytime that I have my blue blockers on in the evening.
Because you're sleeping too
Yeah.
good. Because you
So I'm hitting
you have
deeper
built up
sleep.
dreams.
Yes.
You do that. If you don't sleep enough and get enough deep sleep like, to the dream state, you will build them up. And if you're really without sleep, you will have them during the day. You will see things during the day. There's a podcast that I heard from on Joe Rogan podcast, a sleep doctor. He came in and broke it down. The big reason I got this is because I realized back then I was like, oh, I sleep 3 hours, bro. I'll go to bed at like 2 and be up at 5, and I'll go jog. I was doing that shit. But oh my God, I didn't realize how bad. Like
But the crazy thing is, you probably felt good doing that.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember being at work though. At work, and I would be like, at a take battery, and I would see something like move, and I'd be like, well, that was probably a kite or something. And then it would happen a lot when I wasn't sleeping, and now it doesn't ever happen. I was thinking, I was probably like my brain tripping. Yeah, like tripping out. Like so, your dreams like it's like a tank. It builds up. You have to have them, and if you don't let it have those, you're gonna start having them during the day. What was the name of that? He had a book too. I listened on Audible, and I was like, I'm sleeping, bro. I'm sleeping. Like, and everything what sucks is when I don't get sleep. Usually when I wake up about 4:35 every morning, I've already burnt close to 1,000 calories from that midnight. That's how it works in here. Now, if I don't get enough sleep, it's half that.
Okay, so
Everything's not working right.
and that's counted towards your BMR is that 1,000 before you burned. Okay, before you woken up. Okay.
So it starts at midnight again. I guess so it circulates every midnight. And when I don't get sleep, when I get under 5 or 6 hours, it tanks it. It tanks it, and it tanks the rest of my day. Recovery, performance. I can tell like low sleep days, I can do probably the same workout that I did a week before, and got good sleep, and I'll have twice like the output. I'll have twice the output, twice the calorie burn. Like everything's better, much drastically better.
This makes sense.
So then, like, everything just works better. Like, especially after, like, time of getting used to sleep. At first, I was getting so much sleep, but the next day, I'd be like, oh. Like,
You have,
oh.
like too much sleep.
Yeah, well, but because I never had any. My body was like, dude, you got to sleep. Like, what are we doing? And now I feel 5, I got to have, like, 6 is the best. Sometimes I get 7. It's awesome, but 5 for sure helps, which still isn't enough. Like,
Because you've adapted to that much.
it's hard because I keep waking up early. Like, we have to get up early. I get up, like,
5. You have a 5 a.m.?
yeah,
Or-
I'm up by at least 4 every day.
Oh, okay.
Every
yeah.
day.
I've been getting up at like 5:30.
And usually I try to get in bed by like 9:30, but usually, I mean, to be honest, it's like 10:30 before you fall asleep.
Yeah.
But sleep is a huge deal. I ask everybody when I first, like, I say, first of all, I find out about injuries and surgeries, and I ask them, what do you eat and how you sleeping? And they're like, well, I eat like shit, and I don't sleep that much. I'm like, damn, you already got a bunch going against you, man. Sleep is
number
so. It's like everything. If you worry about, I was thinking to myself, like, you do all this food and you work out and all this shit, but you're not sleeping. And according to all these studies and science that you believe so much in, you're wasting your time almost. Not wasting your time, but you're killing yourself still. You're still killing yourself.
Definitely. I had a friend of ours ask, because they asked when I go to sleep and when I wake up. And I said, I'm usually in bed by midnight. And I said, I can get into bed, at 10, but I go to sleep around midnight. They're like, well, what do you do at that time? I'm either on my phone or I'm watching YouTube videos. So
Yeah.
it's definitely not benefiting me. It's mindlessness.
Yep.
So somewhere where I could reap more benefit, but I just choose not to.
Yep.
And I know it's something that I need to get better at, and then I'm going to start.
What's cool about the Whoop, it tracks you how much sleep you need, and you'll get an email. Whoop, hey, bro, you should be getting to bed like right now if you want the optimal sleep.
Really?
Yep. Reminds you,
is.
yep. And then every
That's
morning it
cool.
wakes you up and it lets you know, you're a piece of shit. You should have slept more. Look at your recovery. Look at how your heart rate's way higher. Your resting heart rate's so much higher than yesterday when you get good sleep.
So how long
Yeah.
do you have to wear it before it
4
kind of
days.
figures out?
It says 4 days is what it says. Mine's about to die, but hopefully, it doesn't matter after it figures you out. But I like it too because you can link up with all the other Whoop people in the world, and like you can see, like one day when I was rock climbing, I burned 8,500 calories that day, and I was 95% in like everybody that has a Whoop on their wrist. So like all the
Whoa.
CrossFit athletes, so I was up in like top 5 percentile of badasses that day, and I was like, yeah,
You get a screenshot of it?
yes, hell yeah, I got a screenshot of it. And I think what's cool about that is I go back to the day, like it tracks me for the year. It tracks me every week. It gives me a strain coach at the end of the week. It says, okay, like your sleep and recovery is optimal. The exercise you put in, you're probably getting stronger, a little more fit, or hey, you need more sleep, probably not doing so well. And then at the end of the year, it does everything. And what's fucked up about this stupid thing is I was fitter when I first got this thing, and the end of this year, just because of trying to do my own thing, work on my business, I got less fit all consistently this whole year. It went down. I was like, it just checks you like you. And I felt like I was in pretty good shape, but I was more fit.
So on paper, you were more. Okay.
On paper, I was more fit, and I attribute that to also like Christmas, Thanksgiving, eating a lot more food and taking a lot more days off. I don't care. I let the pleasure monkey out, and I tell everybody that. I think you got to have those moments and those times, and like being like you were saying, like when you start eating well, even on those Christmas days, you still go, I've had enough. I've had plenty.
Yeah.
I've gorged myself, but I'm good. You do better than most people do anyway.
Yeah.
But you still like, I'm not gonna work out that day.
And there's different aspects of overall health than just eating right or working out all the time.
That's
Sometimes
exactly
it's
what I was
like
thinking.
Mental health.
hanging out with your
Mhm.
friends.
Yes.
Yes.
Enjoying that drink instead of stressing yourself out by turning it down.
And I've been like that for too many years. Like, I don't give a fuck. It's Christmas Day. I'm fucking gonna work out and kill it right now. I used to be like,
Yeah.
and my wife would be like, dude, like just chill.
I used to take Tupperware into restaurants. It was
That's too
bad.
much, bro.
Way
Yeah.
too much.
If we're not competing, like, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
If we're not competing, what are we doing? Like, I get it if you're competing. Like, what are you doing? I'm a bodybuilder. Oh, I got you. What are you doing? Keep up with my macros.
Yeah.
You're a weirdo. You should leave that inside and
Yeah.
have some queso.
Yeah.
Like, chill out.
It was.
Totally.
Because, I mean, we probably sound a lot the same. Like, it really bugs you to look in the mirror and go, what the fuck, man? And, like, your what the fuck, man, is everybody else is like, damn, bro, I wish I was like that.
Literally.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
I gained 20. I had a client, we were talking, joking around. She's like, you don't know what it's like trying to lose 20 pounds. Like, you're always in shape. So I gained 20. And what's crazy, I proved to her how bad shit food can change everything. I worked out like a savage. You'd see me work out.
Yeah.
I don't bullshit.
No.
I still ate my
BS.
healthy meals, but I just ate shit in between. All I wanted, whatever I wanted. Dingers. It did took like almost 3 weeks, a little less, and I put on like almost 20 pounds. Almost 20 pounds. And then I was like, so I took pictures of my before, and I was like, put it on Instagram, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds to show everybody how after I gained 20.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, dude, but your 20-pound gain, and a bunch of friends was like, I wish I looked like that at 20 pounds heavy.
Yeah.
So I was like, so people like us are kind of psychopaths.
Yeah, and that's one area. Well,
Yeah.
I always say once you work out consistently, you'll never be good enough for yourself again.
Nope.
And I'm my own harshest critic. I'm sure you're the same way. So I'm tough on myself, and she's the first one to hear it
Yep.
from me. And
Yeah.
she has to kind of put it into perspective, and I have to kind of check myself on it also. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
You don't want to be a weirdo.
definitely not be, and I don't express it, to anybody
Right.
other than myself.
But it's a fight. I know what you mean.
It does get to me mentally.
Urge you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like deep down, you're like, I cannot believe I let myself do that. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing that
2-3 days in a row just eating dog shit, and you look like you feel like a bloated. What are you doing, dude? You're a piece of shit. Everybody's like, you're fine. You're like, no.
Yeah.
I think it's more of the missed workouts from eating
Shit.
dog shit and drinking that I
That's
get
what
myself
comes with
crap
it.
from.
When you eat shit, it is so easy to not go work out. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's like, dude, you know what? Like, fucking, I already ate
I
shit.
already- yeah.
I kind of feel like dog. What's it gonna help if I work out? It's gonna help. Like, I'm just gonna go through the motions. Just go through the motions, bro.
Yeah.
Because you just ate like shit for the past 3 days.
You'll only regret the workout that didn't happen.
I always say what hurts worse. I said like what hurts worse, like eating the shitty food or the disappointment you get from eating this shitty food.
Pain of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like,
regret.
yeah, it's like, yeah, I'd rather just not eat this shit because I know I'm gonna eat it, and then like, you ever been eating something in the middle of it, you're like, what are you doing?
And you still continue to eat it.
I don't care. I'm already halfway through. I'm eating it, like, but you're like, and it fucks you
Same.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, going back to struggle, that's one of the things. Our lives are so easy. We struggle like over eating too much food. Back in the day, it was not
Yeah.
getting enough food. Now we were struggling like, Look at how fat I am. I just keep
Everything's
eating
in
all this
abundance.
fucking food, and you
No,
can't.
everyone's obese.
People can stop. People can stop doing heroin faster. You can tell them to stop eating more food.
Yeah, and it used to be a sign of wealth to be
Yeah.
fat because the more money you had, the more food you can get. And now
Right.
it's almost the opposite.
Yeah, it's because the quality of food you're getting is just calorically just full of just it's tons of calories and no nutrients at all.
Right, and then people make the excuse of healthy food being
Expensive.
expensive, but you look at their bill from eating out every day of the week.
Yeah,
You know,
I give me.
it's
Yeah, I can break
incomparable.
that down for you real quick. Like I can easily and like even people are like I'm not buying organic. Don't buy organic. Just go buy meat.
Yeah.
Just go buy whatever. But get meat. HEB check, the little green check. That shit's pretty cheap, man. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems pretty legit to me. Things like that. Like
And it's always a better option, regardless. And that's another thing. So even whenever it comes to eating out, and whatever I try to relay to my clients is like, well, I'm out to eat with my family. It's like, well, there's always a better option on the menu.
Yeah.
There's always a better option in consideration to everything else that's there.
And then another thing is like after you eat the better option, like the steak or the chicken or whatever, and your body gets full and satiated, you go, oh man, I'm so glad I didn't get the enchiladas covered in shit because I would be like, oh. And you look at your family and you're like, yeah, look at you and you're like, oh my god, and you're like, I could go for a jog.
Yeah.
I feel great. I feel great. I feel full. I'm satisfied. And what sucks too is after you eat a lot of food like that, you ever notice like sometimes you'll be hungry again in about 3 or 4 hours. And you're like,
Yeah.
how am I hungry? I just ate like 4 pounds enchiladas. Sometimes you don't though. Chinese food it seems to like
Run
not
that
work.
through you.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You go to a Chinese buffet and gorge yourself, which
that's
by the
so
way,
nice.
I think is the best hangover food of all time.
I haven't had it as hangover food.
Dude,
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know what the Chinese buffet place got closed down because it's so nasty in the kitchen, but that shit cured every hangover I had back in the day. It literally shut down. My wife was going to do the remodel back there, and she was like, Kyle, like, I can't eat Chinese food buffets ever again because of that place. She's like, it was fucking. They shut down all the way, and like, it's a whole new place now. But dude, whatever. Shit, I would be like, I feel terrible. I go in there, eat the mini corn dogs, and like all the other whatever. Who knows? I don't even know what that meat is. It all
Cat
looks the
and
same
dog.
I don't
shape.
wanna ask too many questions.
Cat and
Dude, it
dog.
worked. I would eat that and be like, I feel good. I'm ready to go like hang out. I'm good. Like totally take away my hangover.
I really want Chinese food now. But that's one thing with me. So if I make my mind up to eat bad, I'm gonna eat
Yep.
bad.
And he goes through with it 100%.
And you can see the pain on my face, and I'm still.
And he's
gonna
still
eat.
going to
I'm
finish.
still gonna eat.
I've been known to like buy like be on road trips like many times rock climbing. I buy a bunch of shit. It's all like candy, gummies, the whole nine, and I'll just not eat it. I'll open them up and dump them out the window. Full bags, done it a million times. Do it. It'll happen again. Full bags of food because I'm like, I'll open that up. And sometimes I'll eat
Impossible.
one or two and go, oh, fuck that. And dump the contents out so I can't eat it. Because if it is there, it'll get eaten.
So one way that, and I told Chris about this, one way that I worked on my discipline growing up, because I grew up around fitness. My mom's been an aerobics instructor since I was 8 years old. So I've always had a healthier side of eating, but it was just eating better than other people. I didn't
Right.
really know what healthy eating was. And I always had a sweet tooth, and I always had dessert with my food. So I didn't stop getting dessert, but what I did is I would eat a third of the dessert instead of all of it, and then
Okay.
cut it back to a half, and then get rid of the other half. And then I'd eat a fourth, get rid of the other 3/4, and then I'd still get it, and then I'd throw the whole damn thing away. And if it was a cookie, I would crumble it up right in front of my face and throw it away.
It works,
It
man.
did, slowly but surely. But now, if I have a
Now
cookie in front, I won't
it's
turn the cookie away.
No.
I have a massive sweet tooth. Like my family, every Sunday, it's fun food Sunday with the kids, but fat fuck Sunday for the adults. I'm not bullshitting. Every Sunday, I go to Market Street, get the same chocolate cake. We put it in the island of the house. We pop the top open. Everybody, there's only 4 of us in the house. Everybody gets a side. We all get a spoon. We just go at it standing up.
Market
I need to do
Street
that.
is bomb.
Market Street is
Market
our
Street.
place. That's literally.
I
think,
like the
best place
produce
ever.
more at HEB and the meat more at HEB.
Okay,
So-
fair argument. We mostly go.
Their produce
recently
is good
it's
at
been
Market Street
for-
though.
Yeah.
It's been more for that buffet that they have. I like that a lot.
Yes.
Different options of food, and then the pre-made foods where they have like rotisserie chicken.
Yep.
and the
Like
pre-made
pulled-
pizzas and sushi.
Yep. That is good. They have good sushi there.
Sushi's
They have real good.
bomb
The
there.
chicken's good there. I like at HEB. They have those meals. It's like steak, asparagus,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
And like $5-6
You
a
just
piece
pop 'em in the
Pop 'em
oven.
in the oven. Yeah, I had one of my clients was like the Lean Cuisine guy. He was just like, he's single. He's not going to cook. It ain't going to happen. He gets up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. That's how his job works. He goes to bed at like 7. So I was like, I went and bought him like a week's worth of food. Like, here, dude. He's like, what? Oh, he has nothing. You just eat this, and from now on, you buy these. Like, if you're not going to do meal prep, you're not going to go to a meal prep guy or nothing. Like, this is it. And I was like, I broke it down like per link. I went up to the HEB, took pictures of all the lean cuisines I could find, the backs of them, the price of them, sent it to him. Like, it was like a 45-minute process. I'm up at HEB. People thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm just keep telling like, this is shit. This is shit. Like 50 grams of carbs on every. Like, this is all shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's just trash. And then I'm like, price wise, I'm like, you might pay $1 or $2 more. And like I think the most expensive thing there was like a big steak, greens. It was like $11, but the average plate was like $4 to $6.
Yeah.
Full again, and he starts eating more food, more calories, and he's like, dude, I feel so good. He's like, I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
Real fucking food. Isn't that crazy?
That's all that it takes.
And it was just finding an easy way for your like you said, a way that you can make it work for you. Like I took small pieces out until now, I just don't eat it anymore. But now I guess now that you've gotten past that point of your fitness journey where you're like, I know what it takes to be fit, you don't have to pass up the cookies anymore.
I don't have to pass anything up.
When I say fasting too, and there's another reason, fasting, especially intermittently, will allow you to eat shittier foods daily.
It'll let you get away with it. So what is your fasting window usually? 16?
Yeah, 16-8 usually, but it always goes to 18. Like I want it to be 16, but usually I'm still like working or training something or doing something. So it's like 18 or 20, but 16, 16-8 is perfect. And I think if that's too much, do 12. You're still going to burn some fat. It helps. But I like it too because there are days I'm like, dude, I just want to eat like shit right now. And I eat like shit, and then somehow, magically the next day, my fingers aren't all swollen, and I'm like, something to this shit. It works.
Yeah.
I mean, fasting is like in the national healthcare in Russia. They have like fasting facilities where people go for like long fast. Like long fast, autoimmune, like rebuilding their bodies, like things like long, like 48-hour fast, week-long fast, things like that. It's been in their protocol for years.
Well, Zach has a cancer protocol.
Yeah. So it's actually I have a little cancer protocol that I have.
So wait, what's to prevent cancer or to beat cancer?
To beat it.
Yeah. And a week-long fast is on there.
Really?
Yeah, I do believe it has a lot of anti-cancer effects.
That thing, I would want to know. That's the document I read, the documentary I saw, but it's about. I think they were doing that in this facility in Russia.
So
there's a soup you can eat, right, for the long fast. There's like a soup.
You mentioned a soup. I haven't heard anything about a soup.
It's like a cabbage or some sort of soup that you can get some sort of like your minerals and nutrients from, and it won't break your fast.
I don't know about that. But whenever you're in a prolonged fast, I think after 72 hours,
Your cells die.
So you have cell autophagy. They turn around, they
Rebuild.
The bad ones completely die, and that's part of cancer itself. Is you want to get rid of the bad cells, keep the good ones, but you're getting rid of the bad ones, and you're not only keeping the good ones, you're rebuilding what was the bad ones. And I think that's what kind of chemo and radiation try to simulate, but they're getting rid of all the cells. Good.
Right, they killed everything.
And then even with I have a high concentrated CBD. What that does is it. Instead of like chemo and radiation, they bind to good and bad cells. The bad cells attach to the CB1 and CB2 receptors inside the body, and it basically just flushes them out of your system. And
Right.
it leaves the good cells. And there's just different things that
Makes sense, though.
It makes. I mean, it makes perfect sense, and I just don't think that people give it a chance. And I think whenever people hear something,
Don't
like
say that enough, though.
as
You're gonna end up
opposed-
dead.
I will, and that's one thing.
Oh, no.
He'll come up disappeared. His Tesla will just, for some reason, drive off a cliff.
Hey, that's. I mean, I don't put it past people.
Keep that shit to yourself.
I know. Oh, now you told them what the other.
But
Well,
I
there's-
think that's what I mean. People think that anything that's not Western medicine is woo.
Right, I'm with you. I'm 100% holistic medicine works. It's probably better for you. Like you said, instead of something catastrophic, a bone broke, and then you need some pain, something to stop that pain. I get that. I get that. But for the most part, sicknesses and things like that, you can prevent first off with food, and diet and fat. I'm telling you, fasting. There's some crazy. I think the longest fast. There was a guy. He was like over 300 or 400 pounds. I can't remember. He fasted for 364 days. He ate no solid foods. He took certain vitamins after a while for what he needed, and that soup. It's a fasting soup, and like the reason I found out about it was in this documentary about that in Russia, that facility they had, and he lost like half himself. He ate himself. That's what was going on. He didn't eat
Oh,
solid.
okay. And his skin was also firm.
Yes,
right?
yes, he didn't have any flabby skin left.
Yeah.
Like everything
Yeah.
like went back
To normal.
as he got smaller.
That's
Because
I
I
do
don't.
more research on that because I heard about it. Now that you say that,
You can. I'm telling you, it was a long time ago. But this guy just didn't eat. He had certain vitamins in this soup that he would eat maybe every day or so. But I wonder why the skin goes back. I wonder why losing weight while you eat
Like your skin is like.
lets your skin. I mean, I don't get. Is it maybe it's because like the cells are being like what you're saying? I don't know if it's down to the
Regenerated.
tissue level or what. How I don't have any idea. But some's got because I remember that he said he didn't have to have any loose skin, and he lost like maybe 300 pounds or something insane. Like he was a 300 or 400 pound guy, and I think when he was done, he was in like the 100s, like 190s, 180s area, and he looked like a totally different guy.
remember the name of the documentary?
God dang it! No, but I'll remember. I'll go home on my Netflix and I'll send it to you. It'll blow your mind, dude. It'll blow your mind. And it's the same time I watched a documentary about who's the Buns of Steel lady? Suzanne Summers.
I don't know.
Okay, well back in the day, Suzanne Summers had, I think it was Suzanne Summers, the Buns of Steel lady. She had breast cancer, and anyway, she's having all these issues with hormones, and she wanted to take steroids. But with the cancer, they're all the doctors here in Western medicine was like, no, this is crazy. Well, she goes to Europe, and the doctors there are like, yeah, we've been doing this shit for years, like hormone replacement therapy, testosterone. Like, they just give you the wrong shit over there. So they gave her all this stuff. She comes back healthy as a horse, looking jacked, doing Buns of Steel, no cancer. The doctor here, like, what the fuck's going on? She's like, yeah, I just went over there and did exactly what the hell I asked you for, but they just do it the right way. And she's a big reason that we see TRT in the country from back in like in the 80s is when that happened, because they were so scared to like give her some sort of steroid because it's going to activate cancer cells she had or something like that. And they went to Europe and they're like, no, it's no big deal. We're Germans. We're smart as shit.
I think that does happen. Maybe not with testosterone or synthetic testosterone, but with human growth hormone.
Yeah.
If you were to give yourself human growth hormone and you had cancer in your body, it would
Yeah, I
definitely
can
make
100%.
you grow.
I don't think they even give, like my doctor said they won't give you have to be an older guy, and like
To be like.
and they give you like you don't get a lot of IUs of human, like that's some real shit.
Yeah.
Well, it makes your organs grow too.
It makes everything. You look like I know some guys that used to look like good looking guys, and they look like cavemen now. Like they are forehead, hands, and a lot of them have. Now they're older men, like 50s, and their bodies are deteriorating, like the joints, their hips, like know how big their hearts are, and I mean everything gets bigger. Everything gets bigger, especially when you're taking it to like get bigger,
Right.
like massive IUs of it. That's the most terrible shit. That is the fountain of youth, though. HGH.
Until when though?
Right. I think as an older person, like once you get in your 60s, and if your doctor's like, yeah, you can get some HGH, and you're having like some seriously tendon problems and some issues like that, I think it's probably beneficial. I think it can make you live longer, because a lot of times what people die from when they're older is their capacity of their organs is at 100%. They're only using 20% of them for the last 25 years. They fall down, hurt their hip. Organs have to do more. They can't do more, and they start shutting down. Well, if you have growth hormone, everything's working a little bit better. You're a little more muscle, like tissue around. When you fall, you might not damage that hip or femur bone because there's muscle there. I can see that working.
Yeah.
And after like you're 70, who gives a shit? Give me everything.
Yeah.
I want all that shit. I want to be the grandpa that's like
Yeah.
that's your grandpa, like the weird looking grandpa that's super jacked, and they're like, what is he on? Everything.
That's a goal. Oh hell yeah.
Like everything. Like I'm 80, bro. Who gives a shit? I'm going out
I'll
supercharged.
pee some testosterone out for you real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. When I pee, it's just oil. It's just straight oil. Like, what do you do? I'm constantly just with needles. That's what I want. When I'm that old, I don't give a shit. I don't
Same.
care.
Yeah.
What would you care? I mean, you've done enough. You've done all the work when you're younger. Your body doesn't have any of the stuff left. Hey, dude, we got all this stuff over here you can take. You want to do it?
Why not?
I'm like, yeah, I'm 70. Fuck it. What sucks is like I think we're gonna live to like 120. I think with modern medicine, if like with the nukes later on, like the World War III don't end everything, which you think's not gonna happen. Which I'm not. I mean, I don't know shit. I don't watch the news. Like it doesn't matter. Like I'm the kind of guy when it comes to shit, like the ignorance is bliss. Like you need to know. Like what have they launched a nuke? I don't know. Better off not knowing.
Yeah.
I'd rather just doodle boom. It's over.
Yeah.
You'll be freaking out for 30 minutes.
And that's why people that are outraged by other people, it's like, how many times do you step outside your house and run into another asshole? No, but if you watch the news, there's assholes all over the place.
Or Facebook. Like Facebook's the hardest thing. I got some friends on there that like they hate Trump so bad. Like the guy he could do. There's nothing he can't. There's nothing he does that doesn't
That's
piss him
right.
off.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get it. Like the dude's not doing the best job. Nobody does the best job at that job. But Jesus Christ, like all day you just sit there like he could throw money out and they'd be mad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially with with this last race with Trump and Clinton, it's like people can't distinguish, or they can't, choose character over beliefs.
Right.
It's like, oh, if you believe about that, you're just a shitty person.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of understanding, like they can have the certain beliefs and still be a good person.
Right.
But people don't.
That's my first time I ever voted, ever. Because I just think, like, the guy I wanted to vote for was Ben Carson. He didn't make it, so my wife's like, you got to vote, dude. I'm making you vote. All right, cool. And I was thinking, Trump's cool, I guess. I mean, he's a successful business. I see some pros. I see some cons, too. He's a crazy person, which is cool. I like crazy people.
Silly things.
Right. Yeah, and he does dumb shit. Like I think he says things that he just needs a filter guy.
Mm-hmm.
The guys, I think Ben Carson should have been like, he whispers into Ben Carson's ear. Ben Carson's like, all right, say that, but say it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then also he's like impulsive as shit, and he's like he's very egotistical, which is not good.
Yeah.
Will you have Hillary Clinton will let people get drugged through the streets with their testicles shoved in their mouth while they're alive while she's eating. She's a straight murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, you kill people.
100%.
So I gotta pick the other dude. If my wife's making me fucking vote, I'm going with the other guy. Now I realize Hombre, the gorilla, was on the ballot. I didn't know how ballots and shit worked. I would have voted.
Was?
Yeah, I'd have voted for
I didn't
him.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
No.
Yeah, I think you could have wrote him in there.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think somebody did. I didn't know how it worked. I'm like, Trump. So people are like, you're a Trump supporter. You're an asshole. I'm like, I mean, I guess, but I was kind of forced into it by my wife and then the other lady. She's crazy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And not against women or nothing. There's probably some good. I don't think anybody should have that job. Would suck.
That's a lot of power for one person.
Yeah, like the Trump thing. Like I guess bombing Iran. People think it's like he just called up. Hey, you know what we're gonna do today? We're gonna drop some bombs. I'm sure there's some a lot smarter military-minded people that went, hey, we can do this, and it'll probably for whatever we have no idea what's really going on.
Yeah.
And then, a guy that was pretty terrible was taken out. Yeah, and it might get us into a war, but also we can't be a bunch of bitches about stuff. Like it could eventually come over here.
Oh, definitely.
And you definitely don't want that.
Yeah, it could make its way over here. And that's whenever you'll see people wishing they did burpees.
Right.
But I had heard that him and Trump had gotten into a feud on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, like he sent him like a Lord of the Rings, like whoever the guy the terrorist was sent him like a Lord of the Rings like meme of like a year ago with talking shit, and then Trump just sent a missile.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, but do you really think Trump was like, dude, let's bomb? Do you think it was his call? Do you think that's the kind of power they have? It freaked me out. I'll tell you what, if it was Trump, like he woke up in the morning and he's like, guys, we're gonna fucking blow that dude up. We know where he's at. And they're like, well, I guess we have to. It's the president. That freaks me out. If there isn't a bunch of like generals and military-minded people going, whoa, we can't do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You're gonna start World War III. I know he pissed you off, but relax.
I think there has to be.
There's gotta
100%.
be. And if there's not, I'm terrified. I seriously am. If it's all in like, if Trump has full fucking power of the throttle, I'm sure he does good things business-wise. I'm sure he does good things that people like, and I don't keep up enough to like say either way. But I know one thing: the guy's got a big ego, and that's freaky.
And he's a patriot.
Yeah, and he's like
He
all.
loves America.
But sometimes you can love something like to death.
True.
And I know you don't like, because here's the thing. You got guys like Putin, and guys like Kim Jong-un out there that are full fucking psychopaths, and then he's crazy, but he's like 78 or 74 or something like that. He could say something so crazy to one of these dudes that we really have some shit pop off that happens here. And I don't think people understand, like, I don't understand, unless you've been probably at war, what it's like when a bomb goes off, like, next to you somewhere. Could you imagine if you're, like, somewhere all of a sudden, when you're watching people die in front of you, but you're in Texas and you're in Midland or you're somewhere in the United States, you're like, that's going to change. You're like, maybe we should be bombing these assholes.
That's a different type of stress that it'll bring. But
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Could you imagine? Dude, okay, 9/11 was crazy. And if it was planes or not, just that little bit. I mean, there's a lot of people that died, but on a scale of people that die in Iran and like Saudi Arabia, I mean, on a regular basis.
Small scale.
Oh my God. Like bombs and machine gun fire. Like my friend Sergeant Grimes, he was in Fallujah years ago, and he said he's seen children playing soccer while they're in a firefight. The kids are like 80 yards that way playing soccer. We're in a full-on firefight, but they know what the snap of the bullet sound like when they get close, and that's the only reason they stop. Otherwise, they'll never get to play soccer. They just whatever, fuck it.
Holy cow.
That's so scary.
Growing up like that, gunfights are no big deal. We got it. They're over there. They're not snapping by us. The bullets aren't getting close to us. We know that happens here one time. Like, I don't know how people, it's going to be crazy, man. Like, it makes me wonder what would happen because, like, all the people that, 50-50, half the country hates Trump, half the country loves it, half the country hates this country, half the country loves it. When somebody drops a bomb, I wonder how either side's going to feel. If they're like, dude, I get it, but, like, we got to get together. I'm afraid that someone won't be like, fuck it. Just let them blow it up. I'm with them. You don't think any of that would happen?
I don't know. I think there's a cognitive dissonance to where it's massive enough to where people would be like, just fuck it, keep bombing us or just bomb them. They voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And just like I've seen a meme that says, I think that if we are drafted, people that voted for Trump
should go first.
Yeah, should go first. Well, yeah, we're the only ones that want fucking guns.
Yeah.
True.
But at the same time, like you said, I don't know if that's even going to bring us together because there's so much of a contrast in what people believe in now, and they're so fixated on certain things that they don't like about Trump.
Right.
That they're either going to say
they're willing to watch their own home burn to
Yes.
Get their point proven. Ha ha ha! Look
This
what
is
he
your
did.
president
This is what
did.
y'all wanted. Y'all wanted
Yeah.
this. Now look. And I don't. I essentially don't want to go to. I want to go to war. But let's say there was a draft and they drafted me. Do I think I want to go to war because of that? Fuck no, dude. I don't even know what happened. But if me going to war means that it keeps them from coming here and shooting my family here having to deal with it, let's get it. I mean, I have to.
right.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen, and I'd rather me go than some other dude that's just not gonna do the best he can. I mean, that's the way to look at it. Other than just like, I wish everybody looked at it that way. Like it's you're defending your family essentially. You're not.
Yeah.
You might be defending Trump supporters, but when war comes, I mean, god damn. Before y'all got here, I read that like I guess Iran just shot those missiles and like you said, it might be something that happens all the time. But now since this is going off, they're like
Publicized.
making it. Well, they're just making it look bigger than what it is. But if it's not, and like tomorrow morning we wake up and it's like, guess what? We're getting after it. I am super curious to see what's going to happen here.
Yes.
Like when it for really goes down. Because I know I have a bunch of military buddies and I have friends who are in the military now, and they're like they're all excited.
Ready.
They're ready to go.
Yeah.
But then I know people hear them like they think.
They're not gonna know what to do.
I don't know. I just don't know if you don't back your team up, it's hard to win type shit. You know what I mean? Like in World War II, everybody came together. They gave up things so we could all throw in on the war. I don't think we're gonna get that now.
Definitely not. And around World War II, that was it was like 10% of the population was at war, and now it's less than 1%. And it's not saying that we don't have as many or even more troops now because the population's increased, but we aren't going to be as supported. It's not going to be like you said, everybody was for the war.
Yeah.
And that's why they had the baby boomer generation, because after the war, everybody was so excited that it was over, troops were home, and they started having more babies.
Yep.
And then it tapered off after a while, and then we start plateauing not only in the population, but we start going the opposite direction as far as the eagerness to want to go back to war, and we become softer and softer.
Yep.
And I think now that we're probably at our softest, and it's not going to get any better. Like you said, we're the GMO people. We're low testosterone, beta males.
You know what makes people stronger or harder? Like the only thing that
Hard
makes
times. Hard
that
times.
sucks,
Yeah.
dude. And we're about due for some to like bring some either. We are Rome 100%, and Rome didn't fall down in like a week. It took years, It took hundreds of years. We've essentially, it feels like we've almost peaked out some ways, and it looks like we're like in Roman times when they started having gladiators, like watching other men die for entertainment. Well, we have UFC, which I'm a fucking fan of. I love it, and like YouTube videos where people getting kicked in the head, and everybody's like, like nobody cares. The guy's getting like brain damage. They're just filming it because we're enjoying it. I mean, we are Rome. Like we look at each other like when side A sees a guy on side B getting torched, verbally, like physically, whatever, they love it. He deserves that. You deserve. That's what
Oh,
you
God,
get.
I'm not.
You eliminate
Ha ha.
the human aspect. It's just-
Right, dude. And it's really something like. But you go to places like Russia and things where there's some terrible shit, but they have like massive respect for each other. They have
Everyone.
massive respect for just common respect.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much common. It's weird, and it just makes me wonder in the next. Who knows what's gonna happen after this podcast? When I get off here, who knows what happened in the morning? It makes me wonder what's gonna happen with like us, because I know right now like you can go certain places, maybe not so much in Midland, and talk about Trump or something, and get in a fight, or
Literally.
or talk about hating Trump and get in a fight. I mean, we're sad. Like think about we're so soft because we have laws and people that abide by them. We do pretty good as a country. Like like there's homosexuals being thrown off of buildings in other countries. It's totally legal. I've said this before. We talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
If Christians could legally throw homosexuals off, because in the Christian ways it's not supposed to happen. Which, like I said, if you think
Yeah.
Ellen's going to hell, you're fucking crazy. Ellen's like the
It's
nicest
true.
person in the world.
Yeah.
I think Christians would throw gay people off of buildings
Yeah.
here. They would.
I think so also.
I mean, they would. There'd be some guy going, yeah, let's get all them fags and chunk them. And like they're and some people would be like, that's fucking crazy, but it's legal. What are we gonna do? So
Kind of like I don't remember where it was, but there was a time where they were still having public lynchings, and the people that were supposed to do it, the city government that was supposed to put on the public lynchings, they had the people lined up. Of course, everybody's around, basically eating their popcorn, whatever.
what? We're just waiting to see the show.
Watching to see a show, and the city government said they weren't gonna do it. So the people from the crowd went over
And did it for 'em.
Yeah,
Isn't that's people?
Yeah.
That wasn't very long ago. That was probably less than 100 years ago.
definitely. It's less
Yeah,
than
like
100 years ago.
1920s.
Yeah,
My grandma's 93.
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She was pretty much probably alive maybe when that happened, even, or just about to be born. Like that's madness.
Crazy.
I'll tell you this: my grandma has read the Bible more than anybody. She loves everything. She's like all into God. And one day we're talking, and this is how the old school thought process is. This is what she grew up to think. And I said, I forgot what she said. I said, Grandma, what are you gonna do if they let Mexicans into heaven? And she goes, well, and not with hate in her heart or nothing. I just hope they stay on their side. I'm like, and this is my grandma that I saw. We're talking, you know what I'm saying? And my outlook on God and stuff's a lot different than normal Christians. So it's way different than what you would.
Yeah, we talked about it a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's way different. Like I've done mushrooms and other things that have made me think different about life. But essentially, I believe in a God and blah blah blah. But so my grandma's like a monk to me, and she says that, and I'm like, oh, fuck, Bible didn't teach you shit. That's how I felt. Like, wow, you think they should stay on their own side. But she didn't say, she's just like, but
It's
back
their
then,
beliefs.
93 years ago,
That was normal.
that's fucking normal. Gay people, dude, don't talk to gay people about her. That's just, nope, they're not going. And I'm like, Grandma, I disagree. I fucking disagree. Ellen's done way more for the world than you have, Grandma. She's spread way more joy than you have. She's helped way more people than you have, Grandma. And you're a sweet lady, but you ain't done shit compared to Ellen. So I just when it like I don't know, when it comes to things like I guess we got off track with it, but like I'm just saying, like the savagery we have in this nice country, we think we're so much better than everybody, so like kind. When it comes to like I guess the war thing, let's say it pops off. I think there's gonna be a moment in time in this country when it'll kind of be lawless for a minute. Like say some bombs are dropped over here, and focus goes on to getting like not killed in our own country. We'll see people like, oh, there's that Trump supporter, pop, pop, pop. Like I think we'll see that for a little bit. If we ever do see a turnaround, we all start coming together. I think we'll see a little bit of a civil war
Like
during.
the purge kind of thing.
I truly do. I think we're that savage. We're that sick. Like that egotistical and twisted. Our egos are so ate up with
Yeah.
our side versus their side, our agenda versus their agenda that, hey, yeah, we're getting attacked, but no one's really looking at me right now. I could fucking shoot this guy that I haven't liked and that's been talking shit on Facebook, and no one's gonna say shit.
Right.
And we're at war right now in our country, and that would not surprise me a bit. And it's sad to say.
And not only that, but it's whenever there's no law, it's going to be, we're going to grocery stores, we're getting all the food, we're going to start fighting for food.
Yep.
You know,
Well,
Killing each other.
we
were talking
talked about that. I
too.
said, like, like the city's infrastructure within a matter of days and weeks, the food will be gone, sewers will be overrun. It'll be you should get away from this as fast as possible and go towards like trees, water, and where you can hunt. And they were talking about like if
the like power strip went out.
if it all went down,
screwed.
well, you got about 2 or 3 years before the nuclear power plants overheat and explode. The water that doesn't keep those nuclear coils cool are going to overheat and explode. So there's a timeline. But yeah, like that's in us, like that we haven't had to see, or we've been talking about, essentially, like we've been so soft. If it all goes to hell in a handbasket, dude, that's going to come out of us. Like it's been suppressed so long, I feel like. And we're like, people are always griping at traffic and shit. That's our little bit of let of it out. Like, but if we're like, hopefully, I'm not that kind of person. I don't think I am. But the ones that's in them, they're like, when they have that chance to be like, dude, I could do some fucking gnarly shit and get away with it. I think they will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Against each other. Over, like, I think they could see, like, say, whoever's invading, shooting at an American, and they can go, like, no, they don't see me. And they don't see me. And I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
I don't even know that dude. He just got here. But I'm going to shoot him before we ever unite. I think they would shoot at the people they've been hating in their own country for the past 5 years because he voted for Trump.
That could happen.
I truly feel like that because we are Rome. Like, humans are creatures of habit, and we're like, evolution is real. And the way we've been raised as people on this earth is real. Look at Rome. Wasn't that long ago. Look what happens. You have too much power and too much comfort. You get fat and lazy, and you turn on each other. It's just power. Like, power corrupts. That's a true thing. And like, we have the outside world. Yeah, they look like they're doing good, but to us, they think like, fuck those guys. Everybody's got it good.
Yeah.
Like, our poorest people are some of the richest people in the world. Our poorest, I forgot what the statistic was. Is like, our poorest is, I forgot. It's like how much 1% of the world. It's like crazy. Our poorest people are rich beyond measure. Anywhere else in the world, and we don't understand that. So you bring a bunch of like, what's the old saying? Some hungry guy knocking. He sees you in there eating all the food. Hey, I'm hungry. Can I have some food? No. Hey, can I have some food? I think Tupac said this. No. And before you know it, he's gonna kick the fucking door in and take your food. And if you've been in there eating and getting fat, and you've been out there starving and scrapping away, dude, you're a little bit tougher to deal with.
Yeah.
That shit, like that, I haven't really been scared of it till today. I'm not even scared of it, like aware of like how deep it's going. I'm like, we really might see a war, which I wasn't surprised. Like, people act like we weren't going to see a war ever again.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what we do. We're humans. We're the only thing bad that's ever happened to the earth is us, and until we all die, won't have a chance to live.
Right.
Like, that's the best thing ever happened to earth. Honestly, is for us to all go away. Like, we're the worst part of it. But like, I'm not surprised of it. I'm surprised that it might happen in our lifetime again, but the state that we are in as a country. Yeah, I feel like a football team, bro, where like the offense is mad at the defense, and then we're about to play like, if we had to go to war, we'd be playing a game, and like, fuck, you guys should score more points. Yeah. Y'all should stop them. And we're fighting on the sidelines, and when that happens, you lose the game. Even if you're a better team.
That's a great analogy.
Even if you're a better team. You can have the best team. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. Got 13 Pro Bowlers. Only 11 guys can touch the field be on the field at a time. You got like 13 Pro Bowlers. I don't know about this year, but this was like a few years back, and you can't make the playoffs. Something's going on with the team. It just that's how I feel now. Like, when I saw that today in that missile launch, I was like, God dang, dude. Oh, this could get creepy.
Start getting ready, even if it doesn't escalate.
Well, like we were saying, you never know. Like, we don't ever think it's gonna come here. I don't even feel like it's gonna come here. But god damn, dude, what if you have that Independence Day moment where you're reading the paper, you look up and there's the spaceship, except the spaceship's a bunch of MiG-29s, and they're dropping bombs, and it's like really fucking happening. It's like when you fall off of something, you don't want to fall off of something, but now you're like, I'm falling off something. What do? Haven't been ready for it. Haven't been thinking about it. I've been eating shit food. All of a sudden, the food comes to a halt. What happens? Things I think about. I can go down a little two rabbit holes. When I saw that earlier, I was like, this is crazy. It's all I've always talked about. I'm like, people are so soft. What happens when shit gets real? We're not ready. We're so divided.
And that's one thing I think being able to think for yourself makes you safer also, because I think people are going to look for a source to rely on, and they're always going to wait until they get what they want to hear to make them feel safe.
Yep.
And that's what they have. Even if it's with the news, they're going to cling on to the news. They're going to look for a leader to follow rather than trying to, figure it out for themselves ahead of time.
Yep.
So
I raise my kids that way. My kids get in trouble by their aunts and uncles all the time for questioning. I'm like, y'all get mad at, and they say, y'all just mad at us because we think for ourselves. And I told them, I said, I tell my kids to question me. If you think I'm wrong, my kids be like, no, Dad, you're wrong. My son's like, I'm like, nah, I'm telling you right. And I'll look, I'm like, oh shit, my bad. I apologize.
question everything, stay
That's
curious.
funny.
Yeah, because if you're not, man, you're just too easy to be like, come here, come here, come here, come here. Come to drink this potion, drink this potion.
Believe the headline.
Put these Nikes on and drink this Kool-Aid and then, never wake up again. That's what happened. I mean, it's too easy to be a sheep. And like even the wokest of woke are still like, we can still be led easily down a bad path. I always want to be the person, my analogy is I tell my wife, I keep a calm, cool head. I'm always thinking, but like if, say we're in like a giant stadium and it's on fire, the roof's falling in and it's full of like 40,000 people, everybody's stomping on people, running around, not really planning where they're going. They're just reacting to bad shit. I want to be the guy, I said, or you look for the guy that's standing calmly like, yeah, this is fucked. Like we're in a bad way, but let's get out of here. Let's figure out the best way. Like let's not waste our time running around and getting damaged. Let's take a few moments, figure out the best option, and then make a move.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's Americans don't have a lot of those people. I think we have more panickers. And
Where
remember when Houston
Like-
got hit by the hurricane and it just it just got drowned out? My wife was there. She said that people were fighting, shooting guns at each other. She had to sleep on the side of the highways like Walking Dead. She's like in her Camaro with a shotgun on her chest, people like pounding on her window, looking for water. And nothing even happened. This is like a week of like bad weather.
Yeah.
People willing to start killing people over food and lack of like gasoline and shit for like a
You've
week.
seen even around here whenever gasoline shortages.
Oh
happen,
my God.
Oh
lines.
my
People
gosh,
start
that was
freaking
crazy.
out
I
for
forgot
gas.
About that.
Yeah.
Let a bomb drop.
Serious.
Well,
Go up.
I guess that is a good way to end it. I appreciate you guys coming. Sorry for the.
No problem.
Thanks for having
I want to have you on again though.
Yeah, definitely will.
I want to have you on
There's
me
still
because
so much
we
to
could
talk
go. Yeah, we could go
No,
deep.
you and Zach can go like
We could go
on
deep.
And on,
Yeah.
probably.
Because like we and her had a good conversation about death and all kinds of weird stuff and like I could go on like this,
Yeah,
don't
we
even.
went, we went into
There was a
like
lot
the
of doors that
faith. When we talked, we were like talking about faith and Christianity.
Yeah.
And
Well,
y'all can go into like conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I'm a bit like.
There's a lot of doors I didn't want to open because I wasn't sure what time it was, but
Yeah, no, dude. Like average time on these are like 2 hours, and I've had some. I could go for as long as I want, but I know everybody has to be at work in the morning for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So do burpees because we might get shot at. Don't be an
I'm doing
asshole.
them tomorrow.
I'm just worried that people are just we're like savages waiting to be unleashed for something. What soon something bad happens, it's gonna bring out shit that. I mean, I just really feel that way. I tell you what. If it all went down, like everything went power grid, all that shit went down, and something like happened where my kid is going to be harmed, or my wife, or I have to go get something for my kid, I'm not going to tell you that I wouldn't murder everybody to get what I have to get for him. I can't say
Right.
because I haven't been there. But if I'm like looking at my son and he's starving and he's like he's dying in front of me, and I see these people with the stuff that I could feed my family with, and all I got to do is take it from them by any means necessary. I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I'm a pretty savage dude. I might be like, man, like, I don't want to kill you, but I might go ask you for some food. But if I can't even approach you, then I'm just gonna do what I gotta do. And I'm not gonna watch just be honest. You have your son, right? Tell me.
Oh,
Your baby's-
100%, no question.
People with diabetes, their kids have diabetes. They're out of insulin, but they know you have some. Their son's literally gonna die very quickly.
Yeah.
What do you think's gonna happen? You can't get your medicine anymore. You got a bunch of heads running around here that ain't on their pills anymore, but they know you got some pills up in your house. What do you think's gonna happen?
And that's another thing. I think that's whenever empathy is going to go out the window also.
Completely.
Yeah.
So like, I don't give
They
a
don't
shit
care.
what you think because nobody cares about you.
Here's where our egos fuck us.
Yeah.
We think we're so smart. We know what God we are. We know the space. We know everything. We know what the world does. We know what animals are, and they're dumb and this and that. Fuck no. Like you said, empathy go out the window. What happens in the animal kingdom? There is no empathy. There is zero. There is eat, live, make it to the next day, because that's how they have. There's a struggle every day. That's their struggle. We don't have that. Wait until we have that real struggle.